Tell me where do I go? Tell me where do I take us? Your heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe. As I dive in, bloodstains washing underneath the waves. I'll be reaching out to keep you safe. As we fall, I can't hold on much longer. We're drifting down to the other side. Try to pull us under. Keep holding out for the other side. Tell me where do I go? Tell me where do I take? Where do I go? Tell me where do I take? Your heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe. As I Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to the war, we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment, now is your time. So prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Rise, push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Rise. Welcome to the climb up, reach for the summit. Visions brave and one false step lead the end. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your blood, go and take it. This is your moment. Take to the skies, go. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Get
Another chapter will be added to the EU versus NA rivalry. The results of today's best-of-5 could cause a whole continent to cheer or cry out in despair. We'll see how Fnatic and Cloud9 perform under the pressure. Reckless and his squad looking confident as they prepare for the series ahead. Hello, everyone. I'm James Ash Patterson, joined by Indiana Frosker in black, Chris Papa Smithy Smith, and Joshua Jack Leesman for the second semifinal day and the last day here on this desk. We got a swift 3-0 yesterday after some very close, tight-knit quarterfinals. What were your impressions coming off of that?
I wish it would have been longer, mainly so there would have been more to distract me before today's games.
I know the anxiety levels are nuts.
Because I want them to start right now. The countdown timer is just taunting me of this is how long we have to wait until the opening ceremony.
We've never been this invested before.
It's an auspicious day, right? Auspicious day is the exact fitting of NA versus EU, first time since, season 1. This is very much a trend-setting day, and you think about yesterday, the only thing you really take away is one of the shortest series of all time when it comes to a best-of-5.
Which makes Invictus Gaming look quite scary when we preview that finals matchup. But yesterday, Invictus proved they deserved a shot at the Summoners Cup after taking down G2 Esports in convincing fashion. All that's left to be seen is who IG will face in Incheon with today's semifinal brawl between Fnatic and Cloud9. And that performance is exactly the kind of stuff you want to see if you're an Invictus Gaming fan in a swift 3-0 over G2.
Yeah, last hope for the LPL. Invictus Gaming came out swinging and ripped that gap open, just to remind everyone that, hey, it's not over yet. There still is a shot that an Eastern team takes the finals, and it was really the Shy and Rookie popping off.
Yeah, and one of the themes of this World Championship has been play your game. Just turns out that IG's game has been solo lane dominance the entire year, and that actually feels like the trend for a lot of the teams that have made it this far in the tournament. So IG definitely showed up and proved their worth yesterday.
I mean, you say play your game, Jet. It was very much a single-player game by the Shy. He basically went in, rolled through, and it was just disgusting the amount of damage he was able to pull out.
I mean, with that, considering tonight's series, we have the potential for our finals to be two teams from the same group in Fnatic and Invictus Gaming. That is, of course, if the Europeans reign supreme tonight.
It kind of feels like the crash course, if you will, Fnatic and IG getting that best-of-5, and like you're saying, unless the usurpers of Cloud9 decide to throw a spanner in the works.
And while this is no doubt the highest stakes clash between these two teams, it's far from the first time that they've ever faced off. Cast your mind all the way back to 2013 Worlds quarterfinals, where Fnatic prevailed 2-1.
Yeah, you'll see some familiar faces here. Sneaky was in this match. Reckless actually wasn't old enough to play at this time, but Soaz was in the Fnatic starting lineup.
And Puju was in this game. It was a Cassidy that went legendary in Game 3. Ended up being a 2-1 win overall, a very nail-biting one. They've met many times subsequently after that, but actually the ledger is a good one to read for C9.
Right, 7-3, I believe, an all-time record between these teams. So although the last time at Worlds they met in a quarterfinal, C9 fell down a spot, they do have that overall record.
And I feel like you can feel good if you're both an NA and an EU fan, because it is these two historic organizations. As the international ledger shows, it's been these two have really been the top benchmarks of Western performance.
Yeah, and this is the most meaningful matchup they've had. I'd say the other most meaningful matchup was that 2013 quarterfinal, because they were in the same group in 2015. They went 1-1. C9 2-0'd them at Rift Rivals. C9 beat them at Battle of the Atlantic. But
what are you saying, Jet?
Those have different importance levels than world championships, and the semifinals with a spot in the finals for the first time for a Western team since 2011. That's way more meaningful than everything else put together.
Yeah, without a doubt. All that mounting to today's series where the pressure has never been higher for either of these teams. I guess my question is, for which team is it higher? Let's start by talking about Cloud9.
And the thing is you would think that if this was an LCK team, if this was an LPL team that Cloud9 were facing, that almost there'd be no pressure. You know, they'd be like, we're past quarterfinals, we're in the semifinals, this is basically a victory lap, doesn't matter if we go out here. But because it is Europe, and because there is such an intense rivalry, I feel like there's more pressure than necessary, but still fairly easy coasting for Cloud9. From 10th place to semifinals at Worlds, like these guys are coasting through.
If you can remove yourself emotionally, I get that thought, but at the end of the day, they've already set a record, right? We're seeing C9 into the semifinals. That's a meaningful achievement, yes, but you never want to rest on your laurels. You're already saying, all right, we're not facing an Eastern team in the semifinals like G2 had to. We're in our best position to actually make it to the grand final. There may never be a better table setting than what C9 see today, and that must make them optimistic that this could be another defining day. Yeah, certainly hungry.
And personally, I've always kind of hated the NA defeatism when they go into the bracket stage, where they go into a quarterfinal and they say, well, we made it this far, but there's no way we're beating Samsung White. Like this year, We saw Cloud9 knock Korea out of the tournament by 3-0ing a FLICKR Freaks, and we saw Fnatic knock EDG out of the tournament. So they've already beaten the previous teams that sometimes they'd go and say we can't beat. So there is a sense of hope, I think, for both regions. But it has more pressure? I think the favorite has more pressure, and I do think the favorite is Fnatic.
That's where I was getting at, to land on Fnatic and the fact that they as well have some pressure mounting. When it comes to the pressure, though, and how it affects him, Young Buck doesn't care how long this series will go. He's confident that the team will close it out.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Fnatic's team director, Young Buck, ahead of their semifinals. Now, Joey, we have had the pleasure of talking to you ahead of a lot of important matches this year for Fnatic, but this one is something else. Can you explain to me the weight and the importance of this match for Fnatic as a team?
Well, I think the winner of this match is going to be the first Western team that made the finals since Season 1, and the first time since Korea has actually risen to the top. So we just wanted to write history for the entire West and Europe since the start of the year. So now that we're here, we really don't want to drop the ball.
Absolutely not. Now, forgive me if I say it, but some of your players have been quite cocky, confident, sometimes bordering on cocky, I definitely say so. What is your attitude towards that from a managing and team's perspective?
Throughout the year, we've had players that have been confident or not confident. And for specifically Martin, for example, whenever he has been confident, he performs extremely well because he's just very confident in his own capabilities against the opposing bot lane. So when he's very confident, I'm very happy. If he's like, oh, I'm really scared of this matchup, then I know that maybe he's going to perform like evenly with the enemy bot lane. But now that he's very confident, I have a lot of trust in him. And I think everyone is still giving 100% for this match and definitely not looking past the semifinals.
Right. Well, that is, of course, very important. C9 have looked incredibly strong. They 3-0'd a FLICKR Freaks. What are your general thoughts about the skill level between the two teams? Is it going all the way?
It's very tough to say because usually I would say that we are clear favorites, but they came out swinging in the quarterfinals and we had a pretty rough time, I would say. So it's a little bit difficult to say where we are, especially because we haven't played them in a while in practice either. So I guess today we're just actually going to find out how strong they are without really knowing.
Bit of a mystery, so I'm not going to ask you for your prediction. I'm sure you'll say Fnatic will win. Could you dare give me a game score from your heart, from your gut?
I think if we win the first game, it's going to be a 3-0. I think if we lose the first one, it's going to be a 3-1 for us.
All right, there we go. Confident but calm and collected going into their semifinal. Thank you very much, Young Buck. Back over to you guys.
Thank you, Shocks. Measured confidence out of Young Bucks, citing C9's impressive quarterfinal as a reason why it should be a competitive series today.
And then saying 3-0 or 3-1 in the case that we lost the first game. So I think the measurements got a little bit...
What if you lose the first two?
I don't know if he's thought about that
3-2.
one.
Yeah, we haven't thought that far.
But that's the big thing, we talk about how the community has so much expectations on Fnatic. The last Western hope, this is the Western team that's going to win it. And it's not just the community, it's also the Fnatic players themselves.
Right.
Reckless being, Shocks used the word, confident, maybe borderline cocky, and if the emotional or mental fortitude gets tested in this series, do we start to see a collapse from Fnatic, or do they rise to the occasion and meet that cockiness?
I think Reckless said basically it's a bit of emotional distancing, right? You come in confident and then worst comes to worst, you just get off social media. I don't know if he's thinking about that way anymore. His prophetic words are getting more and more into reality now that we're in semifinals and they come in favorites.
All right, well, taking you into that series in just what is it, 20 minutes, 21 minutes? There's a glare on the screen.
21 minutes.
Our freak,
Someone's like
Missio and
reflecting.
Kobe, who tuned into a particular set of players when it comes to this matchup.
Thank you very much, Dash. Yes, my name is David Freak Turley. This is Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler, and on the far side, Martin Fisher Lunga, talking to us about a particular set of players we're looking at for today's games.
I mean, mid-jungle, both teams, 4 Danish players, of course. Svenskær and Jensen on one side against, we have Broxah and Caps on the other side. I almost forgot the names very quickly right there. But
Going well.
I just think, like, especially the jungle matchup is going to be so crucial for the early game.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, Broxah has actually been my favorite jungler of the tournament here. His split-second decision-making on things like Lee Sin, hiding the Sonic Wave animation coming out by safeguarding into a brush or, kicking people away for escapes has been so exciting to watch. On the other hand, Svenskær hard carrying some games for Cloud9 versus a FLICKR Freaks, especially in their quarterfinal matchup to get here. So both of those guys are going to have a lot to do with the mid lane matchup, which is critical.
Yeah, I think all 4 of those players in that mid jungle for both teams have been really, really good. Let's talk about the mid laners, though, as well. Jensen, of course, a big name here in North America, and Caps has been, of course, a standout for Fnatic as well. The stats are interesting, though, because even with a lot more games for Jensen, Caps has gotten more solo kills and also only half the times dying on his lonesome, so able to escape ganks quite well.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that someone can beat Caps in terms of dying alone, because he's actually managed to do that quite a bit. But as you saw with Jensen right there, teams have found success when they try and gank him quite a lot. That is a strategy Fnatic have used in the past. It's very important C9 stop that from happening.
Well, we'll see how that goes towards the best of 5. Only 19 minutes and 18 seconds away. No glare here. That's a couple of things we're looking for in this series. Back to you, Dash. Good luck.
Well, aren't you cool, Free? Well, aren't you cool? Let's see, if I look at this TV, I can read 1904. With how quickly yesterday's series went, right? Impressive.
Wow.
With how quickly yesterday's series went, one of my analysts had some extra time to cook up another Worlds edition of JatStats. So we're going to toss it over to that end of the desk.
All right, so semifinals, very important time.
Yeah.
Europe always talks about making it to the semifinals, but I do have a question, especially for a new European LCS caster. G2 lost 0-3 yesterday. That extended the EU LCS's game-losing streak in World Semifinals. What is the current count of games in a row lost in the semifinals by an EU LCS team?
Let's see. H2K, Origin, Fnatic,
That's already 9.
G2.
12. It's
What
probably
was G2 in this? Oh, this one.
Because aren't you counting
Yep,
this one?
This one counts.
And then they would have lost the last game in a previous series.
They didn't make it.
In a
2014 was the year that North America
Consecutive
made like a
losing
good run because TSM made it and then took a game off of Samsung White. I think EU got blown out that year.
7.
Are we counting MSI or just
You're
Worlds?
saying 7 games in a row. This is just Worlds.
Oh.
They won a game.
7 games in a row at Worlds in semis. So they
I
lost
would say
3 yesterday.
They
But
also
then you're
got-
going all the way back to
So it's definitely 12 in a row, all the way back to 2015.
Yeah.
in a row.
Yes.
They
You guys
didn't win a
done some
single.
prep.
Yes.
How many you got?
But they would have also
Wait,
lost
I
games in
named
the
everything.
previous
Where's my
series.
credit?
I would
didn't
say,
say the
I would
number.
say, I'm going to
The
say
question's the
14,
number.
13, or 15, because they did win one game previously, but I don't know what game they won.
All right.
I'm going to say like 14.
And this is just since 2014.
Well,
he
it's
seems
just
happy.
how many in a row at
Worlds.
Worlds have they lost? All the way back.
I would say 14.
Okay.
That's as good a guess as you're going to get out of me.
I named the teams. I guess I'm with Papa.
All right, you named all the teams. So close, 13. Okay.
Ah!
You really were on the right track. I couldn't believe this when I found it.
That was really
but
solid.
They've
Oh.
made it to semifinals so many times.
Right.
The last time they won a semifinal was actually back
One
in
game.
2011.
One game.
Because they both made the 2012 semifinals and then lost, if you remember,
Okay.
COG EU and Moscow 5. Anyway, that was the longer question. I wanted to switch into a bit of a rapid fire Fnatic
Ooh.
versus C9.
Oh, great.
One person gets to answer at a time. I'm going to start with Frosk. Right? This is a pattern.
Hot seat.
Yeah. So anyway, these are the questions. Top lane CS percentage between 15 and 30 minutes. Each one of these percentages represents either C9's top lane CS percentage or Fnatic's one.
Okay.
And you have to tell me which is which.
I would assume that Fnatic would get more of the CS or separated CS onto their top laner because FLICKR seems to group with his team a lot.
All right, let's reveal.
Damn it.
C9, 24%.
Oh, all right.
We're keeping it with this. Jungle CS percentage, 15 to 30 minutes. Papa Smithy, which one is which, 14 or 15.3%?
I'm going to say the 15.3 goes to Svenskeren.
That is correct. Sven Skjern with 15.2%, bringing
All
the
right,
desk to
Papa
50%.
Smithy.
I say who you prepped with.
Dash.
Ah,
Another question. The mid lane CS percentage between 15 and 30 minutes.
piece of cake.
27.5 or 25.2?
Piece of
They're
cake.
both
What
pretty
is it?
big, remember?
Who takes more farm? Is it Jensen or is it Caps?
You know what? I'm going to go with Caps gets more because he likes to go to side lanes.
You should know this, man.
Ah!
Jensen
I
always
would've
takes
said
higher
Jensen.
CS
Would you
percentage.
really?
Yeah.
Really?
All right, that's why you only get to answer 2 questions total. Frost Curran, you get another one. Bot lane CS percentage, 15 to 30 minutes. Who takes more bot lane farm?
Reckless.
Yes, you got it.
Whoa!
47%. By the way, that's the most CS percentage of anyone in either of the.
The
on
only
either of
reason
these
I
All
know
right,
that
Papa
is I
Smithy.
prepped those stats.
Control words purchased per game by supports.
Bring it home for
One
the
of these
desk.
support is Fnatic support, the other is C9. So Zazel or
Zazel,
Hilly.
Roman.
I'm going to go with
A lot.
Zazel with 18.
Correct.
Woo!
Again. Desk back to
my
winning
boy
record.
right there.
Dash. Next one comes
No,
to
you said I only do 2.
Don't mess it up.
2 of the
I don't
rapid
wanna
fire
go again.
questions.
I
First
pass.
blood percentage at Worlds 2018. 84% and 54%. This each refers to a
Ooh,
team.
that's
Cloud9 have been killing a lot of people.
They have. That was my gut.
Broxa's
but
been
but
popping.
Broxa is the,
Why are you
the
getting
counter
help?
argument.
This is your question.
He needs All right,
it.
I'll go with my gut. I'm gonna go Cloud9 with 84%.
Nailed it. Good job.
Yes!
First Blood Kings. All right. First turret percentage from groups and quarterfinals, 72.7 and 30%.
Okay, so Sneaky blasted lane in quarterfinals, and Reckless had to face iBoy and Mako. So I would
all the
say that
groups?
Cloud9 probably this is
Yeah, groups and quarters. Remember Cloud9
Yeah,
getting
moves
smashed
and
It was
in
just
groups.
that one
They
game.
get in a whole play.
Smashed in groups.
Oh no.
It removes plans, though.
Yeah.
Let's go God.
It's your question.
Let's do reckless. Reckless for more first
This
hour.
is for teams. All right, you got
All
it.
right, there it is.
Technically, there's
You
a
got
hint
it.
in this question. C9 has only played 10 games, so 30% had to be them. Orin record, 3-0 and 2-0.
Who's played more Ornn? Soaz has played 3 games.
Licorice
and I
had
know he
2
played
games
4.
alone in the quarterfinals.
This is for
That's
teams.
Yeah,
This
but we
is
were
even
looking at
individual players.
Bwippo as well has Orin games, and then Licorice
Final
has
question.
at least.
I think it's
Yes,
Licorice that
yes.
plays more.
I might get this one wrong, but I'm going to go
But
with...
it's the whole team, so that could be Bwippo and
be.
Soaz together.
I'll go with C9 being 3-0.
Close, but
Close.
I
Close.
appreciate it. Thank you.
There's
One
two
off.
It was the only other option it could have
I
been.
was close, damn it. I was
You were
close.
so close.
all right, that was fun. I like that.
If you
back
had
and
just
forth.
said the one other
I think you has a winning record.
That
So
was
you
stressful.
win in the best of
Both teams with a winning record on Orin might be the key to the series. We have to take a break. When we come back, we go over the champions that could tilt the series in one team's favor and recap the roads each have taken to arrive here. We'll see you here in 3.5.
Already tilted.
I'm already tilted.
Welcome back to World's Countdown, where we're zeroing in on the first game here of the day between Fnatic and Cloud9. I hate all of you so much right now.
How many minutes are there in Zero?
You know what? There is 9 minutes and 47 seconds left.
I can't wait.
Smithy. Okay, I can't wait either.
It's palpable.
The story of the tournament has been buying into your own style. And Cloud9 themselves, they cited that it was a product of watching Vitality, where they really landed and honed in on what their strategy should be throughout this tournament.
And I felt like just out during scrims, they see what's working, they decide to throw everything at the wall, they hit the right darts, and they decided we're gonna play full aggressive early, and they killed every meme along the way. Sneaky in lane, lol, that guy was a god in lane.
And C9, I think, more than most teams, are willing to throw out what they've put time into in the past for a new thing. That's why they pull out the Hecarim pick off a few games of solo queue from FLICKR. That's why they pull out Lucian after prioritizing late game carries the entire play-in stage. So C9 definitely is night and day compared to some of their earlier performances this tournament and that quarterfinal.
And I know we're ready to just say that about every team, because it feels like everyone's playing kind of their own game, but C9 to me is the clearest test of it. You think back to the Gambit series where they struggled to actually get into the main stage, and then suddenly, just like they talked about, a scrim block where they're watching Vitality play and get the inspiration, the eye test shows suddenly they're playing around Svenskar and they're invading, they're aggressive. It feels like kind of some old C9 strategies returning to Singed and Shen and all the picks that have worked for them on different rosters. So C9 to me killing it on the world stage.
Yeah, and when you look at Fnatic, people talk about like Reckless benching himself. Like Jensen got benched in the summer split,
right?
And now he's solo killing World's mid laners again. Like he has come back so strong in the latter half of this year, and he's kind of back to that old form.
Yeah, what a story for a player like him. You know, was known as a hot shot, you know, in his earliest days coming in, and the expectation was he would rival players like Bjergsen. Fell off the map a little bit in most recent years, and then returns on a pick like a Zillion, the supportive champion. And that's where their run towards the World Championship started, and then so quickly willing to abandon it when it gets banned or when it's not the right pick for the team and go back to something aggressive.
But that last point is so interesting because they come in today with a player who will play for himself in caps, and now which Jensen do we see? Does he try to go back to playing the LeBlanc that he's played this tournament, or does he go to the utility that can have some inconsistencies in lane phase? These are questions we can't know the answer to till pick and ban start.
And while Cloud9's rise has been rapid and all at once, we have to talk about Fnatic, whose road to the semifinals has been a year-long process where they consistently exceeded the expectations set before them.
And it's really kind of the return of Fnatic, not just being the kings of Europe again, but they pretty much smashed through that spring final. They came into MSI, they solidified their candidacy for an international threat. And then while there were a couple of, you know, bumps and bruises, you know, Reckless moving away from the roster during summer as the funnel meta took over, Whippo was really the standout. So overall, they've just been on this skyrocket trajectory going forward, and it's like the return of the domestic power as well as the international crown for Fnatic.
Yeah, and when you talk about exceeding expectations, the lofty expectations before Worlds was that they'd make semifinals. Now the expectations are that they'll either make finals or win finals, depending on who you talk to. So it is impressive how much they have continued to improve. And I think I want to talk about Whippo in the top lane as well, because that guy at MSI had played a handful of professional games and had to compete against world caliber top laners. And now I feel like he's truly holding his own in the top lane at this championship.
I think Whippo and Reckless have had the biggest words. Right? Reckless especially is very much kind of believing in the own hype that he's generated early in the tournament. He knows what to say in the interviews. Say you're going to win Worlds. That's what people want to hear. But it's not just empty. It's just not hot air. It's not empty words. It's actually reality now that they are one of the big favorites for this tournament.
Without a doubt. Now, each of these teams have made it to this semifinal with an arsenal of unique champion picks, and top lane has gone through constant evolution throughout this tournament, all the way up until the Victor picks that we saw popping up just this last week.
Yeah, and the thing is this is such a hype matchup because you have Licorice popping off in the Ornn, taking the Baron seal, you have Whippo now solidifying himself on an international stage, and Soaz isn't even on this graphic, and when you include him, then it just gets even better.
Yeah, and one of those two guys is going to end up having to break. You can't have both of them with a positive CS differential. You can't have two forward percentages that high. Like, both of these guys have been dominant.
But I love to look at the shared champion pool that we're able to put on the screen. It's not really much of a shared champion pool. Urgot is basically permaban at this point, or might not be seen. And then you see on the right side for Licorice, you see a whole lot of kind of his unique picks, like the Hecarim, for example, the Singe that we don't expect to be contested at all. Meanwhile, the most recent stuff, the Mages, is where I think Whippo will definitely want to play.
Yeah, and this champion pool, I think, just speaks to how much trust the coaches have to have in the player to execute matchups, because we could get pushed so far down that Whippo is blind picking Victor, and you're wondering what Licorice's counter pick to Victor is going to be.
The rock, paper, scissors of these unique champion pools is
and
going
you
to be very
also have to know when to just jump back to what you were doing earlier, because the Victor is already really far down the rabbit hole. You might forget about Urgot Aatrox, and you might have to play that at some point. So these guys have to have such a command over so many different styles of champions that it's a true test of top lane.
And that is just the top lane. So now let's talk about a couple of the other lanes that we think might be impactful to the results of this matchup in the junglers. Broxa versus Svenskeren. Both have been top performers at this tournament for their team.
And the thing is Broxa popped off in the group stage, had an incredible Lee Sin performance. Wasn't the strongest quarterfinals, but he was still there, whereas Svenskeren on the other side had a decent play-ins, decent groups, and then really popped off on the Graves when it came to quarterfinals.
It's a Danish mid-jungle 2v2 between these two teams, and that's kind of the big hype thing, is that both these roles are going to be so critical. Svenskeren has come out very much with a breakout performance compared to some of his struggles on the world stages before, and then it just amps up into 2v2. That might be the pivotal duo in this match.
Yeah, and I feel like these are actually the two best performing junglers at Worlds so far, so I can't wait to see them go head-to-head as well.
Right, when we did the aggregated all-pro list yesterday, they were the two votes, and they were very much neck and neck. As we ramp into the final moments before the match starts, spam chat with who you believe will win out today, either FNC for Fnatic or C9 for Cloud9. Of course, while you guys spam chat, we're going to talk win conditions. Papa Smithy, you're up first. No, you're not. I lied. Jat, you're up first. With Fnatic, we're following with Cloud9.
I'm going to break down what I think Fnatic needs to do to win this game, and I think it starts with actually controlling bot river. And this can mean a few things. It's either a stronger 2v2 bot or a stronger mid lane, but it needs to unlock Hylissang to be able to roam. That's how they've come back in games they're losing, and that's how they get control of games they're winning. I also don't think they should draft a weak early game, and they need to be proactive when they might have a tendency to be a little reactive, since that did work against EDG. In the EDG series, sometimes they're able to draft late games, sometimes they're able to draw it out. I don't think that will work against C9, so Fnatic needs to rely on their individual skill with early game drafts and outpace C9.
That's how Fnatic does it. What's C9's answer?
Honestly, just going from what you're saying, I think I'm going to run into some of the points you're coming up with. I'm going to open up with empowering Svenskeren to take over the jungle. I think when he is setting the tone, and specifically the one game, game one of Fnatic versus EDG, where EDG was able to win the jungle matchup, suddenly Caps couldn't push out and everything kind of fell into place for EDG. From there, getting a priority bot lane, that might be a return to the Lucian Braum, but specifically what I want to see is Zeyzal's ability to roam. So I feel like Zeyzal plus Svenskeren is kind of the sweet spot for deciding a game for C9 if they're forced into the lane. I don't think we're going to see any solo kills in the 2v2 happening like they were able to do against Afrika, so I really want to see Zeyzal on the roam. And finishing it off, this is kind of a specific point, but I thought Whippo would play. He is starting game number one. The Mages, the Victor, the Swain, that's what I think he wants to be playing. Have either some new stuff or be able to put back some of your old picks that will work in lane and not just be forced out, because of course the first pick Aatrox that we saw time and time again against Afrika was really the only one black mark in what was almost a flawless series by C9.
A few thoughts on how the teams might actually be able to achieve victory. It's a whole nother animal to perform on the day. So as the chat thinks C9 is going to pick up the victory, I'm going to ask you guys the same question. Who takes it and meets IG in the finals? Frostgren, we're starting with you.
And I was really going back and forth on this one. I do feel that it's 50-50. You have Cloud9, who has shown that they have a propensity for this meta. They'll play the early game, they'll dominate the lane phase. On the other side, you have Fnatic, who against Edward Gaming have proven that even if you come at them hard and fast, that they'll survive and they'll get the team fight. I just kept going, but it's okay, because Vedius left me this coin.
Is that a weighted coin?
It is a Danish kroner.
Ooh, European
check
coin.
This one out.
And I'm going to flip it, and we are going to see who will win.
All right. What'd it land on?
Well, it's Fnatic 3-2.
3-2. So it was going to be 3-2 either way.
Six-sided coin?
Yeah.
Oh, this was the C9 3-0 side.
It's close, but
She's been playing some
3-2.
D&D. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
All right, Papa Smithy, what are you thinking?
So again, I had the C9 win conditions. That means I can visualize how C9 win. I can think of those specific scenarios, but my issue is I feel like every resting scenario, every other scenario, barring some very specific win conditions, it's Fnatic. So I have to go with Fnatic 3-1. I think this will end up being pretty comfortable over the course of the 4 games that I'm putting forward, but I do think the C9, again, have some scenarios where they do win.
Yeah, I think the cheating
coin?
EU coin
No
Vedius
coin.
gave you speaks to who is the favorite. I think Papa Smithy speaks to who is the favorite, but I also think that Cloud9, a lot of this will come down to draft. And trying to analyze Reaper's drafts for the last 2 years, I've learned that this guy is incredibly good at finding exactly how to attack people. For instance, locking an Aatrox in the first game just because they have an Aatrox counterpick that they're going to be able to get to later. So I think he's got some games ready with how versatile his players are. I think the way they performed in the quarterfinals and the growth they've shown throughout this tournament, whereas Fnatic hasn't actually fallen off yet or had to really recover in a real way. So I think C9 can take this one 3-1.
Either way, we're looking at a close series. 3 seconds to go as the teams load up for the opening ceremony.
전 세계 리그 오브 레전드 팬 여러분 안녕하십니까? 이것은 어제 이어서 다시 대한민국 광주입니다. 2018 리그 오브 레전드 월드 챔피언십 이제 잠시 후면 NA와 EU와 NA의 사상 첫 서양권 세미파이널이 펼쳐지게 될 텐데요. 그 전에 언제 봐도 반가운 샥스 양에게 마이크를 넘겨보도록 하겠습니다. Here's Shaks.
Since Season 2, for over 6 years of competitive League of Legends, the scene has been split into the East and the West. On the one side, NA and EU took stabs at each other, but on the other side, Korea would always win Worlds. Now, over the years, teams as well as fan bases traded blow for blow in terms of rift rivals, in terms of tiebreakers, in terms of imports, all in the hopes of one day proving that they were unequivocally better than their Western counterpart. But all of that bickering pales in comparison to what we have here today. 2 teams, one from NA and one from EU, each striking down all of their opponents to arrive right here in this moment against each other in the biggest rivalry either region could have ever imagined. NA versus EU for the last spot in the World Championship final. Let's meet our teams.
They're going to give it to him. Yes, they are. It is Peke dominating 11-0-7. Fnatic are going to go through to the semi-finals, taking down the North American champions, Cloud9.
A triple kill for Balls! Holy cow! The kill for Balls!
That's going to come in the final.
They've got it!
They killed him. That's it.
May have just done it!
In one of the most amazing games I have ever seen.
This could well be it! Look at him clean up the map! A 3-0 sweep! The first time in 7 years! Cloud9 in the top 4 at Worlds!
자, 여러분 다시 한번 큰 박수로 한번 주시기 바랍니다. From NA LCS 코치 레포트. 탑 리콜리스. 정글 스펜스 캐런. 정글 블레버. 미드 젠슨. 에이드 캐리 스니키. 서포트 제이저. 자, 이렇게 C9을 만나봤고요. 이에 맞서는 팀 다시 여러분께 소개해드리도록 하겠습니다. 여러분 화면을 통해서 이 팀을 만나보시죠.
Fnatic going to win the Season 1 championship. Pawn is knocked up in the air so long he may as well have frequent flyer miles. And Fnatic will advance to the semi-finals.
Reckless and Fnatic, it is so tough. 0-3 in week 1, bounce back week 2, make it all the way into the quarterfinals.
But the Cinderella story must come to an end. Fnatic are eliminated from Worlds 2017.
Cap is chasing forward. Reckless lets the feathers fly. And the Lovers duo will find a kill. Fnatic will advance to the semi-finals at Worlds.
자, 여러분 역시 큰 박수로 맞추고 바랍니다. From EU LCS Fnatic! Coach 딜란 파코 탑 B4 탑 소아즈 정글 브록사 미드 캐스 에이드 캐리 레클리스 서포트 힐리생 자, 이렇게 플라틱과 C9과 플라틱 자, 두 팀을 소개해드렸습니다. 여러분, 이 두 팀이 후회 없는 승부를 펼칠 수 있도록 다시 한번 큰 응원의 박수를 부탁드립니다.
We came into this tournament as the one true Western hope. I think it's time to reclaim that title.
And Fnatic, the last standing world favorite, will advance to face Cloud9 in the semi-finals.
This is the best opportunity that NA has ever had and maybe will ever have. If there's ever a year for NA to make finals, it's this one. In quarters, I was the weak link, and I'm looking to play a lot better in semis.
After what I saw Keen did to him, I'm gonna have to say that I feel pretty confident that I can get pretty close to that.
Scout is blown up. It's Rippo Swain on the front line.
Jensen is obviously Danish, so he has some sort of talent, I guess.
Caps is a player that plays super aggressive, but he struggles to find the balance between being aggressive and being over-aggressive. I think that's the edge I have over him.
We're going to look at the mid lane now again. Kura has flash this time, gets away from it. Ignite is there. Doesn't land the chain. One more auto. That should be it with Ignite. And he takes him down.
I don't think we have seen a match of EU versus NA mean this much. I really owe my region, I owe my team, I owe everyone to win this match.
I want to be the first Western team to make it to the finals after Season 1. I really, really want to beat C9 so that we can be that team, and I'm sure they feel the same way. I think they're ready to come at us, and we need to be ready for that.
Welcome to Champion Select for the final semi-final of Worlds 2018. I am still Freak here with Kobe and Officio. Fnatic versus Cloud9 for the last spot in the finals. The biggest NA versus EU match probably of all time.
It is extremely exciting. First pick and ban phase. There were some picks on both sides we were looking at. Irelia Akali has been banned by C9 in all the quarterfinal games. It stays the same here in the semifinal. And then Zillion, Nocturne, two of the key picks for Cloud9.
Something else we were looking at with Cloud9's games was the difference between group stages early on for Sneaky, and then once he started playing Lucian in the bottom lane, since we're looking at marksman picks already, that was going to be another one that did rise to the top because Lucian does something very different.
And an interesting pick right here by Fnatic. For the entirety of the main stage of the World Championship, Cloud9 has always banned Tahm Kench. It's such a good counter to their aggressive style. And Fnatic for Hylissang, he's been this champion 8 times all year, none at Worlds and only 2 at the summer split. He basically doesn't play it. You saw the hover there, Fnatic aware it's being left up. The question is, will it get picked up in that second round here?
Well, for now, it is a LeBlanc first pick. We saw this yesterday in Game 3 between IG and G2. It's simply saying, we are so confident in our mid laner and whatever matchup we're going to get in this lane that we will be able to play around the lane, that we can just grab it early on.
Plus, it just re-emphasizes what we were talking about with the mid laners and junglers in this game. There's so much importance put on these 4 players. They've already invested very early on Fnatic's side into the mid lane pick, but here Cloud9 invests into the jungle pit. Xin Zhao is the king of the early game.
Let's see if we get Lee Sin from Broxah or Zyra Khan from Fnatic. I assume we're seeing that they were not taking away the Braum ban. Oh, Victor coming in as well. Top lane Victor, of course, was suddenly played a lot in quarterfinals. Whip also showed it.
Victor has become the star of the top lane there, and the scourge of solo queue. For many, it's so annoying to play against because of the range matchup, but this is a blind Victor. So he doesn't know already that he's going into a tanky champion, something easy to use Kleptomancy again. He's actually confident enough here, Bwipo going against Licorice, that it's going to be blind.
Yeah, I want to see if teams have spent the last couple of days finding counters to Victor. It was banned all games yesterday, so we didn't get to see blind pick, but Licorice does have a chance to last pick. I also want to see now with Lucian being banned, what is Sneaky playing? Because Lucian Braum was the combo he used in quarters.
In my experience, the best strategy so far versus Victor has been early picks that can set up your jungler for ganking. They already have a Xin Zhao jungle for possible early ganks.
Wow.
You want to try and kill Victor before he gets the cooldown reduction and the upgrade for his Hex core, so he doesn't have the speed.
Kai'Sa is up right now as a potentially premier bot lane pick right here. I'm assuming Jack's jungle ban aimed at Broxah has to be a solo queue scout or maybe scrims from earlier, because obviously we've got LeBlanc and Victor playing solo lanes. Reckless is famously not a mage bot player.
Well, it does make a lot of sense. Jax does dodge Xin Zhao's auto attacks, is one of the picks that is very good into it.
Let's see if they give Sivir over to Fnatic. It is the normal go-to pick, and that was not really a lot of thinking from Fnatic's side, also good against things like Lissandra. And of course it is Lee Sin being picked last here, seeing as it wasn't banned and the jungler had already been shown on T9. Now, top lane pick. Lissandra can of course get flexed, but I want to see, is there any clear counter? Echo is an old counter pick into Victor. Let's see if C9 are ready to pick it here.
Could also be a mid lane Echo and shifting LeBlanc up to the top side. To try and farm it out and then use the CC that Lissandra does have to set up the Xin Zhao. So until these two actually settle after the swaps here around 20 seconds, I'll remain up in the air.
I'm definitely expecting it to be Echo top lane. Papa Smithy spent a week telling me about Echo into Victor, saying, this is going to be the counter pick, it's going to happen. I was like, okay, let's see if anyone will actually do it. C9 still have to swap it around, but they have 15 seconds.
There's even the chance the players swap around as well. We've seen teams like Flash will do this. I think IG did it before as well, where you simply put the players as champions and you have them play the other lane, assuming that learning the champion is hard and learning the basics of the lane phase, but there is the swap. There is Echo top for Licorice.
One of the big things here is Echo, of course, AP damage, and one of the items that Victor top lane has been rushing is Iceborne Gauntlet because of the large amount of cooldown reduction and mana to help with the shield and the speed boost off your Q. Now, it's going to be an alteration. You just shift the build a little bit and you get Abyssal Mask in the case of magic damage instead, but it's not quite as perfect.
It's not going to be as damaging. You'll almost never be in the aura range unless Echo goes in on you, so the poke will be down. And either way, champion select is done. We've got more new and exciting picks. The blind Victor, the Echo top. It's going to be an exciting game, a very fun draft to watch. And the last remaining hopes of the two major Western regions, Europe on the left, North America on the right. In either case, these teams have had an incredibly good World Championship, but the Western intracontinental love or intercontinental love is gone. It's all in the field now. It's time to win. The game has begun. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Europe versus North America, the semifinals at Worlds. The best performance either region will have had in 7 years if you can make it to the final here.
So much building up to this match, and we're now in the last few seconds where you can spam the EU love NA in chat because it is about to catch on fire.
I mean, one region will make it to the World Final. The other region will get trash talked for a year. So a lot on the line here for both fan bases and
As
both
is
teams.
tradition.
Of course. Now, Echo top lane, you already mentioned the AP damage. It obviously makes it a lot harder for the Victor when it comes to his itemization, because we got to see the Iceborne Gauntlet Rush when he was against things like Aatrox, and the armor was super beneficial, hard for Aatrox to kill him. Obviously not going to be the same effect against an Echo, and there's constant threat that he can jump you with a jungler, and he can always close that gap and get onto you.
Exactly, that's the key thing for me, because Victor top actually does a lot of scaling, but we'll talk about that later because there's already an invade here that's been seen on the ward. Broxah's going to back off until his bottom lane does come.
And C9 don't know they were spotted. The super didn't see the ward that Fnatic put down into the left-hand side to not be swept out. A lot of early research on both ends here as they're still battling now for the red buff. 3-on-3 down here as we wait for this fight to continue. Broxah gonna give up the control as FLICKR's now fighting Bufo on the top side, and the Q's gonna land. A bit more damage as well. C9 off to a good early start.
Yeah, getting his passive there for the extra speed. Now, the big difference on this invade is the mid laner push. Jensen in the mid lane as the Lissandra. He pushed the wave. It was not on screen, but he got control over the mid lane here. Priority is what we call it, and Caps could not join, so they had to give up that buff.
I like the scouting a lot from C9 because this actually happened against Fnatic when they played EDG, sorry, in the quarterfinal. It was also an invade in the first game. Braum support always leads the way here. Broxah now has a ward spotting Svenskeren, so he knows he's on his way into his jungle. He's just taking the long route around. Red buff Xin Zhao, you do not want to fight him early.
Yeah, especially with the solo lanes getting the push on the minion waves that we have seen. Now, he's actually going for the gank rather than the scuttle crab right now. Due to the positioning of Bwipo, though, calls it off and wants to get that income going already. Brox, as you can see, has transitioned down to the bottom side already on Lee Sin, and he may just have to focus on that area as there is not a lot of vision there either.
Very good early vision, however, from Fnatic on that top side. The Ghost Poro, they had a ward in the ramp that spotted Svenskeren walking into the jungle, and Whippo had a ward in the top lane Tribrush that would have spotted him walk out as well. So they knew, okay, if he's not seen in any of these places, he's still either in the jungle or he's recalled.
It does make it fairly easy to track the jungler, though. Here we go!
Flash in, going for the chain as well. Just gonna flash, but still get ruined. Q's gonna land, and first blood goes to Broxah!
Insane setup. First pick LeBlanc, he chain flashes, so there's no reaction time from Jensen, and he gets hit. Oh my god, what a setup!
Great play there from Caps, and once again, that's why we put the importance on the mid-jungle duos here in this matchup. Flashing in, securing that kill, and getting the summoner spells down.
In half of all of Cloud9 games, it was the enemy mid laner giving up first blood of all 10 players in the map. Fnatic at 3 minutes turned that one around as Jensen's the first to fall in the semifinal.
So let's see again here. He wants to start the animation of
flash W
into
into E.
flash W, and then just E's right after. Jensen simply not able to react in time.
Either way, a good play right there, and this is, of course, a good start. 600 gold lead for Fnatic as the trades keep happening to the top side. And I gotta say, it's been pretty good for Licorice, putting Whipple pretty low, who is not quite gonna get stunned. This shield doesn't take a turret shot, but Licorice seemingly having a counter pick so far to that first pick Victor.
Yeah, with the biscuit delivery as well, those are going to come in to help him sustain through this and keep up the pressure. Now, with top Victor as well, it's very important to keep track of the rune choices. Even if you are forced to go in the magic resistance area, you can take Transcendence for some cooldown reduction at level 10, but again, it still takes a while to scale up on that pick before it comes, extremely effective. Bottom line, though, they're going in for a little bit of a trade.
Well-timed rocket jump gets away from that one. It's fairly easy to do at this level of play, but either way, Hillsong not getting punished for the jump in at all. And that's going to be a pretty equal trade. This bot lane is plus CS for Fnatic. Even if Sneaky gets all 3 of these, he will still be down 3 farm in this lane.
There's some very interesting trades in the pick and ban phase. C9 did not value getting Lucian in the first phase because they wanted Lissandra against the LeBlanc pick from Fnatic, which meant that Fnatic could ban the Lucian and therefore not be too scared of the Braum lane specifically. And those kind of things will be very important to track during the series. If C9's bot lane feel like they need more pressure for the next game, they might value getting that Lucian pick earlier. But for now, it is a scaling pick for Sneaky. Same thing, obviously, for Reckless.
And that investment has worked out pretty well as far as the CS lead there for Lissandra. But again, the teleport was also blown. They're going in again.
In landing, Jensen's still going to be rooted up in place, but with Aftershock on, he's going to feel pretty safe. Broxah won't take that one forward until he gets out of turret range. He gets a bit of extra damage. Jensen maybe going a little bit too far forward on that one.
Cap not level 6 yet, should hit it very soon. Got it now. Jensen with ulti available under his own turret can use it defensively to stay alive. I feel like mid lane is where everything is happening, and we showed this in the pregame, how both mid laners pick up a bunch of solo kills, but also die isolated quite a bit, and that's because teams love to gank them early. And for now, it's Fnatic ganking Jensen.
Yeah, it has been all Broxah for the early game. Even though Svenskeren went for the invade to push him off of his jungle camps, he went mid instead and got a lot out of it. Now Svenskeren's looking to make his own move topside.
Level 6 for both top laners. Here comes the jungler in as well. A lot of damage coming in towards LICKR. He's going to ult to stay alive, but now Sven is on the chase. Whippo's burned the flash, but is there the knockup? A couple more autos coming through, but watch out, the turret is attacking, and Svenskeren kills himself in the top lane, and Fnatic is not done. Jumping forward is Caps. He's got the chain as well. What a play! And 3 kills.
Fnatic are destroying Cloud9 right now. Are you kidding me? Bottom lane wants to say something about it, but you know, Hylissang just jumps over the wall there. Svenskeren goes headlong into the turret.
He lost his mind
there,
thinking he could just get the kill. Whippo got the movement speed to just run away from and kite the Xin Zhao. Svenskeren is only level 4 right now, and the first gank very unsuccessful.
That seemed like some frustration really built up and got to his decision making here. Let's take another look in our Acer Predator replay at it. Level 6s for both of these guys. Whippo does get the stun over there, and he's able to kite LICKR with his flash.
Yeah, the fact he gets to flash out of the stun as well is important. And here, he's just running away from him, and Svenskeren just can't get in and get enough hits on him. Yep. Meanwhile, Caps and Broxah actually roamed early from mid. How does Caps get the chain on him in the middle of the wave?
That's actually insane. He threaded that chain through and was able to land it onto LICKR, but LICKR had already blown his ultimate in the attempt at killing Whippo, so huge early momentum here for the Fnatic side.
1,500 gold lead for the EULCS Sweethearts here, the last remaining hope of the EULCS, and they are looking very good so far. And now the fight in the mid lane, Cleanse when he popped. They've jumped onto him already, though, and Jensen, his time is running out, but Svenskeren's back around. The Guardian shield buys a couple more seconds, but it's not going to be enough. Cap still staying alive. He gets out of that one cleanly enough. 4-0 Fnatic.
Fnatic, they can just do everything right now. Every fight they take, in mid or top lane, they weave in and out of minion waves, they always get onto the correct target, and they just have enough damage to finish C9. Jensen ends up going down, top lane fighting.
Yeah, a bit of a trade. It's going to be LICKR walking back, though, unless he's going to go for the ult to keep this one going forward. It'll be right on top of Whippo pretty soon if he goes for this play. Is he getting close to the turret? Not going to pop the ult. Going to go for the damage down onto this one. Again, cutting away his LICKR, but never does the ult for damage, and now he's just stuck at about 1/3 HP.
And not to mention the bottom lane here. All these kills are going Fnatic's way on the top side of the map, in mid lane, in top lane, in the jungle as well. But bottom lane actually heavily behind in CS because the Sivir keeps pushing. Top side again though, Broxah moves up. He's going to provide some extra support for Whippo. Under turret now, the Echo, not a lot of options.
And you saw that instant 180 from Svenskeren, unwilling to fight Broxah in the one-on-one. Better items by a completed team effort versus Longsword on the one side. But now LICKR's going forward a bit low, but gets the shield, and there will not be a re-engage. Whippo playing so well with all this pressure, 1-0 and 1 despite a partial camp from Svenskeren.
I think Broxah is spotted right there on the control ward. Jensen knows he's around mid lane. Good trade from him. Aftershock plus all abilities landing, meaning he barely takes any damage himself, and Caps drops down fairly low.
And it is a solid lane. It's about 20 CS lead for Jensen despite the 0-2 start, so at least farm is going well on the one side, but it is the only bright where you can see the individual gold despite the farm lead down about 2,000.
Yeah, that's why I want to see Svenskeren focus his next gank around mid when there's no cleanse on Caps' side. Flash ulti from Jensen with a Xin Zhao there should give them a kill onto the LeBlanc, and then you can continue this advantage from your CS department in the mid lane.
Man, this is such a crazy start. There was so much talk about, Cloud9. Well, never mind. We're going to have some more action. Let's take a look at the top lane gank up here first. Caps on LeBlanc is already behind him.
No ult for LICKR. Kicked out, looking for his shield. He's not going to get it in time. An easy shutdown. 5-0 Fnatic.
Well, that's almost unfair for LICKR. Victor wasn't even there. His top lane counterpart was in base, running towards the mid lane, but it was Broxah knowing, okay, he's going to try and push out this lane here, and Caps is roaming. Combine the two and you get another kill.
C9 not quite going all the way down to the bottom lane as Jensen's going to go back to his lane to farm. But a bit of borrowed pressure here as Hylissang and Reckless clear out the ward and defend their turret. Bot lane's getting a bit low. C9's pressure finally bearing some fruit here. Not up in farm, but that turret down to 1/3 might mean something eventually.
Yeah, they also had a bit of a visit there. Jensen roams down from the mid lane. Svenskaren's in the area, but they cannot overextend for a second here. Warding does stop one of the recalls.
Yeah, Zay's going to walk back with this one, and it will be Sneaky once again matching. Has a finished Storm Rage, so again, a potential power spike could be there. Just to watch the mid lane fight as Caps gets out of W range. There's never the aftershock and wins that trade handily.
We talked about before how Caps had cleanse on cooldown, so there was an opening to just flash ult him with the Lissandra here and Svenskeren around, but he didn't opt into any ganks. He's also been missing flash for most of this early game. It's going to be ready very soon. Maybe he feels a bit confident then to go for a play, but it's getting harder for C9 the further they fall behind, especially around this LeBlanc pick that is getting really, really fed on kills.
Exactly. There has been so much talk about early game aggression and just throwing caution to the wind, trying to go for ganks over and over in the early game, but we're seeing the downside if you fail in those early steps right now and how hard it is going to be to come back because Fnatic have had such good answers to these movements from C9. Broxa just took the early invade, was able to get to the bottom side, then kills mid lane, and has been a huge snowball.
And this counter pick, Echo, last pick in the entire draft, specifically against the Victor. Got off to a rough start because Svenskeren died under that turret for no reason at all. And then obviously we had the roam from Caps killing Licorice. And now he's down in CS, he's not really winning trades anymore. And Whippo is just constantly pushing in this turret.
Big part of the viability of melee assassin counter picks into squishier mages is with kill threat. And if you lose the kill threat in the early game, then you lose so much power in your lane and the whole point of that counter pick to begin with. So you're not necessarily his fault or the pick's fault, but due to the early game going-ons here, it has been a completely different story.
The fight might continue. He doesn't ult in time. What a shot from Whippo, getting the solo kill. Licorice not up for the match.
That kill kind of encapsulates this entire first game of the series. This is a landslide, Deficio.
It's a perfect game so far. 13 minutes in, Cloud9 have only had mistakes so far. Hoping for their first foray into something advantageous. It's not happening yet, though. Again, not finding the trade in the bottom lane either.
Feels like C9 were looking at the Fnatic EDG series and saying, okay, Fnatic are going to play a bit slower in the early game. There are ways for us to get some bot lane.
Again, that big trade coming in, but with the shield couldn't even time for Zay's. We're going to put the ult down, got to find Reckless a bit. Almost gets shut down with the Q. The Ignite is burning. He should stay alive, but no, it's Cap over 2 walls. Finding a kill onto the turret, and it's 7-0 Fnatic.
Yep, double distortion, waves high to Svenskeren on his way in to find the kill, and takes down Zeyzal.
Fnatic really cannot do any wrong so far in this game, but now a TP flank, maybe something in for Cloud9, hoping to find the play as Jensen should be getting his upper route. The ult, it's spell shielded by Reckless. He's running away, and here comes the rest of the squad. Finally a kill on the board, but Broxa already answers one. Hylissang doing well. Caps, nowhere to go. A formality for this one. Whippo gets a kill on his TP. Jensen's certain to die as well. Look at the cleanup, it's 10-1.
C9, they tried. They used Jensen's TP in the bottom lane against the 2 players from Fnatic, but early spell shield and Hylissang 1v1ing Sneaky that entire time. Bought enough time here for the rest of Fnatic to show up, and everyone showed up in the bottom lane to destroy Cloud9. That was, again, the first turret of the game.
Yeah, even the Rift Herald spawned down here and has taken down the Cloud9 base. It's probably going to get off another charge here on the secondary turret if Whipple can move him up. Zeyzal going to do his best to stop it, but Shelly's got her sights set on that tower.
And big chunks going to come through for sure.
Well, it's actually insane how the Fnatic players mechanically are just executing every single skirmish. From the first gank in mid lane with the LeBlanc to the roam's top lane, now bot lane as well. Let's see the setup. Nika goes in, has to flash out because of the knockup. He doesn't want to get bursted down. Spell shield just in time, as you called right there, Freak, to block the Lissandra ulti. Broxa cannot save Reckless, but will guarantee 1 kill, while Hylissang is still running around against Sneaky, and of course TP plus roam means everyone else will die.
Yeah, they left Sneaky alone with the support. Like, you okay over there, bro? No, he's not okay. Gets taken down as well. Now they're back at it.
Well, fighting maybe a 3-on-2 if they go over the wall. Squires doesn't quite find too much. Hillsong going to knock down a control ward, jumps over the wall, no problem there for him. And Reckless so far has been really good at getting away from everything. Cloud9 again failing another opportunity to go for a pick, and they can't find it.
But we can see very early on, 15 minutes in, C9 is saying, okay, this laning phase is now working. They start grouping as 5, looking for a pick top lane. In the end, Fnatic smell it, and they end up just jumping away. All of C9 have to now go back, catch the waves. Bot lane already getting pushed in by the Victor.
Now, I want to emphasize how important it is that Fnatic have these powerful burst champions with so much mobility. Lee Sin and LeBlanc are two of the best champions to have this much of an early game lead on, because they can get over the map to anywhere and traverse all these different walls, come at you from all these different angles. Once they have a lead like this, it is going to be a smashing.
See when the next play comes forward as this turret's getting lower and lower. Fnatic need to make their good choices around this map. The difference in gold about 6,000 here, a little bit above that. Fnatic are well on their way to a 1-0 start in this series. Of course, there's more to play, but they are looking very good to make their way to their first final since 2011. And on they go.
Good start, at least.
Yeah, a very good start. There's a lot more to play, but this is one of the most one-sided games I've seen at Worlds so far, and it's Fnatic doing a lot of really good work.
Well, let's see what happens here. Jensen is hiding in a brush behind Caps. Svenskjern jumps. They do not get him in time. Cleanse was also available for the LeBlanc, so it's going to be even harder to shut him down. But there's some big bonuses now on the side of Fnatic. Kill on to Whippo with 4 kills is huge suddenly for C9 if they can actually do it. Same thing with mid jungle. For now, though, they are not actually getting in range. Whenever C9 are trying to move out of lane, group, and find that one pick, Fnatic just back off.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of go down the checklist now. It's very easy for them to move wards into the Cloud9 jungle, and very difficult for Cloud9 to actually take any of those fights, because we talked about how mobile the Fnatic carries are that have gotten a lot of these kills. There's 3 on Whippo, or there's 4 on Whippo, 3 on Broxah, and 3 on Caps there. And even if Reckless is around, he could pop the Sivir speed boost to chase people down. So it makes Cloud9 have to kind of cower behind their turrets right here because of the enormous lead that Fnatic are working with.
Again, damage on Jensen at half HP. They're going to dive right in the charm and the knockup. And another kill goes in after the mid turret falls as well. Fnatic continue to take more and more.
And there has been also big differences in play from game to game at this tournament. Cloud9 in this game, a lot of early mistakes that we hadn't quite seen from them so for much of this stage of Worlds, yet coming right now, it's just all crashing down at the same time.
I definitely agree that Svenskjern's play top lane was a mistake. I think a lot of the other situations, Fnatic just managed to get really good, attacks towards them, like in through minion waves, the flash forward from Caps in mid, like things like that. I think C9 were just not ready for in the moment. Was to me a great setup.
For sure, big outplays on
Svenskjern's, however, that one, no clue.
Big outplays though, especially the LeBlanc that you're talking about. Caps was down in CS, yet he continues to look for these plays to set up, going for the kills and securing the extra control that way.
And I want to talk about something you said before here, Kobe, with the lead now from Fnatic and getting deep vision. In this meta, especially without Tracker's Knife, most of the defensive wards teams are trying to place in the early game in their own jungle are going to be like control wards just around the entrance. But you can always see them, so Fnatic, when they walk in, can just kill the C9 control wards, place their own, which then will also deny the limited amount of normal wards C9 can place, and it gets really easy right now to just get full control of a jungle side and keep that control, because you deny full vision from the enemy team, and they don't have enough wards to keep putting them in to see what's going on. They have to constantly recall with the support then, and it's one of the reasons the game is very snowballing and very fast. So once Fnatic get back to pushing the lanes, they can look for that setup.
And I give so much credit to Broxah for this. As the Lee Sin, choosing to get the LeBlanc some free time by ganking mid, getting the kills mid, means that then you unlock Caps to go roam up to the top side and take over that matchup. So it really does have this big chain effect. We're in a fight again.
Yeah, as they look forward, Brock's going to jump into a ward and get away. Sivir helping him run back a little bit. Here comes the charm, the double knockup. They're going to find one already. Azazel and the jungler is gone. 2-0 Fnatic. They're re-engaged, looking for Hillsong. They might jump him down, and they will. 1 up for C9, but another trade. Great kick for Broxah as he is unstoppable now in the jungle. 14 to do, and Fnatic will be satisfied with the 3 kills. Baron is on the menu.
20 minutes in, they're starting it. Sneaky's fairly low, trying to duel the red buff. Jensen is around, no ulti on his side. 4 members from Fnatic alive here. Try and force Jensen away.
He's already getting a little bit low as well. The ult's coming across the jump towards Sneaky. Semifinal keeps him alive, but how can the steal really happen? We've seen crazier ones, but it seems unlikely. Brox has been on point all game. He's got Smite again. They try to stop down Jensen. Forced farther and farther away. He's no longer in range. The Baron picked up a 20-40, and it's an 11,000 gold lead, plus a kill to add insult to injury.
I mean, 20-minute Baron picked up is kind of what we expected with the direction this game was going, but Caps isn't even satisfied with that.
That's a good flash at least, though. They might get the trade. He's Clone actually blocks the Q. Brox is here as well. A shutdown at least is picked up, and there's someone on the other side. So a couple of glimmers of hope for C9. They need a lot more than a glimmer, but they will keep chasing down Broxa. There's the ward hop. Q's gonna slow. And ult is gonna be traded for a flash, and it's just the single kill at the end of it all.
Mid lane is getting pushed by Fnatic right now. They took down the turret. C9, they get the kill and a massive shutdown onto Caps. But that was basically it. Fnatic have played this early game close to perfect. And a 20-minute Baron after winning a fight is the best you can hope for when you're trying to snowball the game.
12,000 gold at 21 minutes. And we can again watch this fight. It's a 3-for-1 overall. Really good plays out of everyone on Fnatic here.
So C9, they know that FLICKR is moving from bot and he will be here first, so that's why they were looking for a fight initially. But they engage, plus the goalie from Fnatic is huge. And now, I want you to look at Broxa versus FLICKR. Because FLICKR, he wants to ult away, but Broxa times his kick just when he knows FLICKR is about to ult, so he can't actually do it because he's flying in that animation with the kick from Lee Sin, and that's how he gets the execute onto him. Perfect timing from Broxa means that FLICKR dies.
And that has been the story of the game. Just constant outplays here from Fnatic. Definitely setting a worrying trend here for Cloud9 as the series just opening up. But a minute and 47 with the Baron buff. Cloud9 now going mid for Bwipo.
Gonna try to find him, but of course his flash is still up because Fnatic have been fighting with such an advantage. Their summoners are up after the fact. Not a problem for him, and meanwhile top is being pushed. So an attempt by C9, one jab, but the counter punch so much better. Fnatic grab even more of the base. 13,000 now the lead. Inhibitor, turret under fire, under 23 minutes. Attacking now.
And I should be able to take this one quickly, but C9 are looking for potential engage. Last hope for them is just to fight. There's no way you can actually stall out this game. You have to try and take a crazy team fight. But Fnatic, they are in full control. They've been playing so well in this first game, and they'll take the first in here.
Fnatic on point. Inhibitor gonna be given up, and a Sivir ult to rotate a bit faster just in case there's something else they want to do. Shenanigans for Bwipo. Jumping forward, putting the stun field down. They got mini wave in the mid as well. Ult committed on top of that one. And the charm forward, but Hillsong knocked back, finds the knockup though. No kills just yet. C9 gonna lose more of their base. Fnatic pop ult and then disengage cleanly.
Fnatic making such quick work of the Cloud9 base. They saw the IG games yesterday and decided to take that challenge of how quick they can finish this one up.
This first game, however, will probably shape the first pick meta of this series. LeBlanc first pick, that's the lane Fnatic ganked early game. That's the lane that roamed to top lane as well and picked up a kill in FLICKR. Roamed bot lane after. C9 will have side selection in the next game. There's a high chance they can go blue, try and do the exact same thing. Of course, execution is the important one, but seeing this already in game one, that first pick mage just take over the game completely, it's gonna be important for the next few.
The pick was big, but the pick didn't really take over the game. It's so much more about the playmaking and the Lee Sin getting in there.
That's what it gives you, man. That's what it gives you. Best mid laner to set up ganks in the early game is LeBlanc.
Might be the case. We'll see if that gets contested in the next 2 games or maybe more based on if C9 can make a comeback happen in this series. Fnatic so far looking the better on the day. There's the jump forward, looking for the stuns and knock up on a one, but it's a hard target to kill. As FLICKR buys time in the backline, ults back to safe, but still, no one is dropping on Fnatic's side. They're all staying alive, and Svenskir's at 5 HP. The flash to the wall finds another kill, and they are still chasing Fnatic on the hunt for more, and they're gonna find a double kill for Reckless. A third falls, an auto attack for Caps, kills off Sneaky, and this is all but a formality. The base will fall. A 25-minute win in game one. Fnatic smash Cloud9 in the battle of the last 2 Western teams. Fnatic are 1/3 of the way to the final.
What an opening statement there from Fnatic.
That was one of the best early games we have seen all tournament long. Fnatic got everything they wanted Lee Sin for Broxah.
Yeah.
LeBlanc for Caps in the mid lane. Perfect setup early game. Took the victor. Whippo looked great even against the Echo in the early game. I think this Fnatic team are looking very, very scary.
I agree. They look scary. They played well. They got picks that they like. We'll see what the games look like in 2 and 3 and beyond. But for more on how Fnatic dominated Game 1, let's send it over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you, Freak. Dominated, smashed, obliterated, destroyed. I mean, give me some more.
I mean, Dash, I did say Fnatic would take a game in the series.
That's true. You did. You did say 3-1,
right?
Profit.
We did say 3-1. Absolutely dismantling Cloud9 in that first game of the series here. Fnatic just did.
And I think there were a couple of key takeaways. And first and foremost, just to get it out of the way, I don't think Cloud9 fans should hit the panic button just yet. I think that's not the type of game that's going to tilt you. I feel like you lost that as soon as Finn ran it down top lane, and you just go and say, maybe we don't run it down top lane this next time, and there's not going to be a mental boom. You have something?
Okay. Well, I hear what you're saying. Based on the draft that then moved itself into the game, this does make me hit the panic button.
Oh, well, the game plan was bad.
Because they banned 3 soul laners, then had a first pick soul laner for Caps, then had another blind pick soul laner, had choice of matchup in both soul lanes, lost both soul lanes, in a meta that I think we can now agree on is soul lane focused. So if they're spending their bans on a Calling Irelia, which they had done in the group stage, haven't prepared counters for those, haven't been able to counter Victor or LeBlanc, I would officially like to change. Am I allowed to officially re-predict?
No. That's a prediction.
I am predicting 3-0 Fnatic after this game.
Wow. All right.
Look, I'm going to have some pause here because I see that you're really fired up about this. I actually didn't mind C9's plan if Svenskaren's winning the jungle matchup, because you think about the lanes he's working with, they had a level 1 plan. They wanted to get Xin ahead. Xin Zhao didn't get far ahead and then made a big mistake. They kind of reset the map state. Suddenly, if Echo goes in aggressively, he dies to the jungler. Suddenly, if the mid lane goes in aggressively, they die to the jungler. This game was decided so early, 5 minutes in, after a couple of lanes went down. I said, it's not a comebackable game because they went for snowball, and it was feast or famine. This was the famine side for C9.
And I actually think a huge issue was this mid lane. So Caps really started off on the right foot by getting the point-blank chain and then getting the easy first blood. But now they've already proven in this matchup that you can't just have the counter or soft answer to LeBlanc in Lissandra. You can't survive that lane. And so for me, this now becomes who's going to get blue side, who's going to have the priority pick LeBlanc, who's going to take it blind, and who's going to ban it.
Yeah, and as bad as that Svenskaren play was, I actually think if he returns to the lane, he then gives over assist gold as well. He was dead 100%.
That's true. But if he tries to run, Licorice probably lives because their focus is on Svenskaren.
But I see where his head was at.
Yeah, I do
full
too.
glass. Half full.
The positivity.
Half full.
It's hard to find anything half full in this if you're an NA fan from this game 1, because from this point, 5 minutes in, with just a small lead, a kill in the mid lane and a couple kills in the top lane, Fnatic knew what to do, and they closed it out relatively clean.
This was the big whoopsie. As soon as everyone teleported in the bot lane in C9, they tried to force the play. That was really the only option they had left. The only lane that's not on fire at that point was the bottom lane, and then Whippo comes down, gets the double kill. You're like, oh, I guess that's a completed hex score at, I don't know, 17 minutes in the game with the Sheen on top of it.
I mean, we called this first game over so early on that I actually don't want to focus on it too much, because I do want to talk about what's going to come, or what is to come. But before we do that, we have to give a nod to our MasterCard player of the game in Caps in the mid lane. That first kill coming through on the LeBlanc really set the tone for the rest of the game.
And it's the confidence, the fact that he has the priority pick of the LeBlanc, that he does it blind. You get the Lissandra and he says, no, you've already lost this lane. I have my power pick.
And we had the discussion between Caps or Broxah and who had more play in the overall game. They both played great games, but for me, it was Caps getting the chain to set up some of the first games, so it was more impressive.
And you zoom out, right? The thing is, this is a containment matchup for the Lissandra, especially after 6, because the enemy champion has a lot of burst. You have the ability to negate that burst with your self-ult. The fact that he made that play so early and kind of changed the texture of the lane, suddenly the Sandra couldn't even walk up and cue the wave because LeBlanc had already got a couple of kills, is how he subverted what should have been a containment matchup. The snowball went against them. In the end, of course, a lot of egg on the face after the draft, but just like when we saw Afrika try the Victor for the first time and lose game 1 against C9, I don't want to be too results-oriented and say both these picks are garbage, change the solo lanes if you see the same blind picks from Fnatic, but I can understand how you'd get there. They just really need to work out the jungle situation because it really just compounded everything.
I guess just my reaction to games like this, especially after we see G2 versus Invictus Gaming, is We have so much tape now that the nature of this meta is it's going to be break one way or the other so hard because it is so snowball. So you're constantly going to see teams just get punched in the face and fall down and be like, oh, I guess it wasn't even close. But that's actually that's just how this plays out. I think every single game is going to be really swingy back and forth.
Well, C9 is going to the blue side. No substitutions. So, Jat, you took issue with some of the drafting here from Cloud9. If they swap to blue side with that kind of control over priority, what do you think they should jump at?
I think the first pick LeBlanc is super smart by Fnatic. I think that was massive. I think Jensen's also good LeBlanc. So if it's up, I think they should take it. I also think the Aatrox Akali Aurelia ban, I don't know how good their counters to Akali or Aurelia are, or if they're willing to pilot them because they haven't shown that. But I think the Aatrox ban is useless because we've actually seen 4 champions that work well into it now.
Yeah.
Poppy, Jace, Victor, and Hecarim. So just please don't ban it. Be ready for a counter pick and give yourself some flexibility for C9.
Here's my panic button. If they get on blue side, and just like previous rounds, they have to ban Aurelia Akali on blue side, which of course is where you want to first pick one and be able to flex it around. The fact that they haven't mastered those champions in the few days off, that's where you get really concerned. Because if you have to ban them on red and have to ban them on blue, emergent strategies will come out that you want to address, but you won't have the bans to do so. That's where maybe pick and ban gets away from C9.
Now, what does Fnatic do to kind of keep this success rolling as they move to the red side?
Well, if they show that they can give away the LeBlanc, if it continues to be a priority pick and then they can break the matchup, then suddenly they've won the skill matchup, if you will, and it's now kind of like a ready check. If Cloud9, do you just have to now ban it, or is this going to be a constant competition to get on blue side just to deny pick it away from Caps?
Exactly. I think Fnatic continues with the Zillion of the Nocturne ban, and then they just stack as many power picks as they can early on red side.
All right, well, there you have it. Some thoughts from the analysts ahead of Game 2. Fnatic came out swinging in Game 1. We'll see if Cloud9 can shake it off and fight back in our second game.
Pick up game. Fairly easy to track the jungler, though.
Here we go. Flash in, going for the chain as well. Just gonna flash, but still get rooted. Q's gonna land. A couple more autos coming through, but watch out. The turret is attacking, and Sven kills himself in the top lane.
I'm behind him. He has no flash, no flash, no.
I can assist.
Yeah, get him. Nice one. I'm going mid, okay? I'll catch mid.
Catch mid.
Finally a kill on the board, but Broxah already answers one. Hillsong doing well. Caps, nowhere to go. Formality for this one. Whipple gets a kill in his TP. Jensen's certain to die as well.
We see Echo.
Winning.
Back up. Okay. Echo.
No, it's good. We can win this. He flashed on me.
He's dead. I'm coming. We can do that, sure.
They're all staying alive, and Svenskir's at 5 HP. The Flash of the wall finds another kill, and they are still chasing Fnatic on the hunt for more, and they're going to find a double kill for Reckless.
The synergy of brute strength, born of elite core power, to thrive under pressure in the most hostile conditions, and built to overclock. Prepare for combat. Go forth and conquer.
Welcome back to World 2018. It is almost time for game number 2. Summoners Cup on the line next weekend. Fnatic are up 1-0 over North America's Cloud9 here. A very one-sided game. Cloud9 outmatched by Fnatic. Kind of roll by roll, it felt like. 2 more to go for Fnatic if they want to sweep this.
Yeah, and C9, they picked blue side. No surprise after the last game where Fnatic, they managed to get basically everything they wanted. Early pick LeBlanc, they got to pair that with the Lee Sin from Broxah. That combination was obviously fantastic between the 2 players. And they still managed to get things like a Sivir for Reckless and of course Whippo. Blind Pixie's Victor did not actually get punished by the counter pick, mainly due to roams and ganks.
Exactly, and we're trying to look at, what does need to change for this series to get more competitive. And a lot of focus was used on the bottom side of the map, trying to target Reckless with some of the champion bans there, but he's still got a very comfortable setup where, Sivir, one of the champions that we associate with him actually for years now, and he seems very comfortable, especially into a Tristana where you can spell shield.
The E is so free.
Yeah,
you can spell shield late. It's so not a problem.
Exactly. It stacks up. It's very clear when it's stacking up. So he definitely had a very good showing on the bottom side, but the biggest fires were in the top side of the map, and Broxah, Caps, and Bwipo all together.
Yeah, so I want to see what C9 wants to first pick. On red side, they banned Irelia, Akali, Aatrox. So 3 of them are considered like OPs or S-tier picks right now in the meta. They banned Irelia, Akali on blue side against Afrika as well in all 3 games in the quarterfinal. Will that be the same, or will they try and threaten a potential Akali first pick? It could be huge for either Jensen or Licorice, but they gotta change up at least a couple of things because last game, it was over almost 10 minutes in.
Yeah, we were actually having this discussion on the dive where we were thinking about the possible assassin picks between Jensen and Caps himself, where Jensen hasn't used much Irelia or Akali, yet Caps has. So, him taking the LeBlanc away, which has been...
I think that'll be huge.
It's the primary assassin that Jensen has used. Not only was it well used by Caps, but it was also a takeaway from Cloud9. So, a lot of value there.
Well, we are into the draft as we have teams switching sides, as so far most of these bans look very much the same as last time. 2 more choices to go, and we'll see if that LeBlanc can go to Cloud9's hands, or Fnatic are more worried about denying it. It's actually Cloud9 denying this. They would rather pick something else first.
Triple bans thrown at Caps / possible flex picks there, and that is a lot of respect.
So Urgot is still open now. Aatrox open as well, but Victor, of course, is there as the potential counter pick against Aatrox. So not expecting that as the first pick. It is instead just the Victor first pick itself.
Expect the unexpected, my friend.
No one wants to pick Aatrox anymore, poor guy.
Well, we'll see. Of course, the Hecarim flex pick, or the counter pick, I should say, is there for Cloud9 as well. If that were to happen, we'll see what Fnatic want to do. A lot of those cream of the crop champions, though, still available, and we'll see what comes through.
All right, one thing that he does very well is mobility, and mobility has been incredibly important so far this tournament. Rakan we saw in the last game where once they were ahead, Fnatic had these lightning quick engages, and that made it very, very easy for them to continue to get picks and force the fights across the map. So if they do get a lead, this has been very big for Hylissang.
Let's see if they value Xin Zhao here on the Fnatic side and take that away from Svenskeren. And obviously based on last game, it wasn't that scary, but it is still considered the best early game jungler in the professional scene. Cloud9, Braum, Lucian, do they want to get that strong bot lane? They have to take it now.
I would also think about taking the other side of the matchup there. Svenskeren's Lee Sin, we haven't seen it that much recently, but it has been a pick that he has also been very good on and does have those options as far as the extra mobility to try and work away from the Xin.
And I can see Cloud9 taking the Aatrox, sending it top, and challenging Fnatic to try an Urgot for themselves. They've only played it once here for Bwipo, and they've banned it more than half of their games. So not a champion seemingly Fnatic are willing to play or all that practiced on. So this is actually a fairly safe blind, and I'm curious what other counters Bwipo has. His Swain is still up, for example, so I'm very curious what he will play here.
To see also jungle-wise, you asked for Lee Sin. I would also love to see his Lee Sin, but it is going to be the Graves pick that he used in the quarterfinals against the FLICKR. So you have now for C9 the Victor Aatrox that can be flexed between both solo laners, and then of course the Graves locked into the jungle.
And C9 do have a lot of scaling right now on their composition. Victor, usually past like the 10 to 13-minute mark, needs to scale up a bit.
We saw that yesterday.
Get the cooldown reduction. Graves also scaling, but here we go. Early game, Jace, very, very scary because the Invictus Gaming solo laners made incredible use of this champion. We'll see if Fnatic can do the same.
And the Korean-Chinese Jace is really good. We'll see what the Danish or Belgian, I believe, Jace is like here for Fnatic. I'll wait to go through this one. I got a thumbs up. I was pretty sure I had the country right.
You got it. You nailed it.
Pretty sure I know where they're all from. Either way, there's the Lucian ban yet again, and I'm curious what else gets drafted away. If Sivir finally gets banned out from Reckless, it's still just the Xayah ban so far for the combination, but we'll wait to see what else comes through into this draft.
Yeah, it's good to see Fnatic just respecting that Lucian pick. There's no reason to give C9 that potential winning bot lane, and Draven as well, the same deal.
And I think it's so important because they need an area of the map that isn't a losing lane, that doesn't have to scale up. You cannot have all scaling we've seen this tournament. You just get absolutely run over in the early game. You need to get somewhere that is pushing lane to try and play off of so you don't lose all neutral objectives early on.
If you are Fnatic, you obviously want to see where the Aatrox is going and ideally put the Jace against that Aatrox. If you didn't watch yesterday, early laning phase was just so heavily favored to Jace against the Aatrox. He was always up in CS, pushing onto the turret, even getting solo kills in some of the games. No surprise here for Fnatic with Sivir, and they can still wait with the last pick.
And the thing is too, with those types of matchup, you kind of need a jungler that brings crowd control if you want to try and kill the Jace or alleviate some of that pressure, and that is not the case here. So once again, Fnatic looking pretty strong as far as the opening of their draft. Let's see what Cloud9 will respond to with the bottom lane.
All right, well, another flexible round. And look at this with Lissandra picked up on top of that one. That means we've got some really non-standard picks coming through here. That's maybe a Victor bot or something else, but this is going to be an exciting draft.
I do know Sneaky plays a lot of Victor when he does play other lanes, when he has to play mid lane, so he at least has played the champion a lot. I'm not saying, that is going to be the pick for him or, where they're swapping these around to, but it could be.
Well, either way, it's going to be a very exciting draft. The only marksman going to be played by Svenskeren in the jungle for Cloud9 as Fnatic will lock in their final pick. They seemingly need magic damage, and Azir is certainly the emperor of that as Caps brings it into the mid lane.
They feel confident they can take Azir against anything in the mid lane from C9 right now. Azir has actually been one of the picks we've seen as a last pick pretty often, not to win the early game, but because he's long range, makes him a very safe choice in mid, and then he gets to his teamfighting stage on 2 items and becomes a powerhouse. So Fnatic got a bit of early game, but also great scaling based on mid and AD carry.
Yeah, and I think the lane phase looks very good with them. Jace has the range advantage over Aatrox. You can harass him, then you drop into the brush up on top side to drop the minion aggro. Azir also can outrange Lissandra. The only thing Azir has to worry about is the all-ins, and he looks like he's taking cleanse there to try and get out of those ganks.
But in the bottom lane from C9, Victor coming in from Sneaky, Leona from Zeyzal. They're gonna pair up this Victor burst with the engage from the Leona, and it's against a Sivir. But we have to remember, if Leona engages onto her, she will get to the target, and if you waste your spell shield as a Sivir, you're gonna get stunned, and you're gonna get bursted down very quickly.
There is so much crowd control on the Cloud9 side in the bottom lane. We'll see if that ends up being punishing.
Yeah, we'll see it. Sneaky gonna be taking the Victor here. We've seen him use it on stream, but now at Worlds in the semifinals, the Victor Leona lane for the bottom. Will this be the surprise card that Cloud9 need to get back into this series?
And will it be the comeback that North American fans and C9 themselves are hoping for in this one? Fnatic handily took game 1. We have seen game 1 not necessarily mean the series. Fnatic themselves dropped game 1 and beat EDG. G2 in the quarterfinals dropped game 1 to RNG and still won that series as well, despite how not close those games were. So now, on to Summoner's Rift, it's time for game 2.
I am definitely going to have my eyes on Broxah. Looking for some aggressive pathing here from the Xin Zhao to maybe even split the top side of the map and try and secure some area for Bwipo to work with. Bwipo is a very aggressive top laner, always looking for trades, and wants to be able to abuse this pick.
See, my right eye, agree with you, will be on Broxah. My left eye, on the other hand, will look at the bottom lane from C9 and this Victor pick. They grab it early. We saw last game Bwipo doing super well on a top lane, but they didn't move it to that top side. I want to see if they can actually utilize it with the Leona here. The kill pressure they're going to have with Ignite as well on Zeyzal. It's a lot of early game damage just from the support alone.
And already there are differences here. You can see with Sneaky's rune choice, he's taking Airy for trading in the bottom side of the map, not the Kleptomancy that we see for the top side, trying to farm up there. Definitely makes a lot of sense. He also has Domination. Usually, I can't see those Domination runes, but usually you'll get Taste of Blood, as well as Ravenous Hunter for the extra healing, and that is for sustain in lane.
All right, so once again, you've got Caps with Cleanse versus Jensen's Lissandra. He was really good at getting away from those ganks before. We'll see the attempt once again here as Licorice and Whip will get to their lanes, and the mid laners fight as well.
Yeah, this is the problem for C9. Even though it was fancy with the Victor swap to bottom side, they end up with this Aatrox versus Jace lane. Now there could be a difference between Whippo's Jace and the Shy's Jace. Of course, definitely I've seen a lot of Western Jace players struggle in the past to actually snowball games. Whippo here can prove everyone wrong and say that he has actually practiced this enough to hard win this matchup, because it is a good lane for him.
And Whippo came in with confidence. He said he looked at that Freak of Freaks match where Keen had done so well in that 1v1. He said, if I can go anywhere close to that, I'm pretty sure I can really show Licorice what's up. And in game one, that was true. Maybe some jungle help as the bot laners fight. We'll see what this game looks like in that top lane matchup as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, Whippo definitely has the right mentality for it. As far as being very aggressive, pushing in Licorice, zoning him off the minion wave here, and trying to use his Shock Blast to land that extra bit of damage. Licorice now looking for maybe the long Q on the minion.
Whippo gets that trade outside of turret range, so still that is advantages to the Fnatic top side, and the wave will slowly push towards Licorice. He will gain the XP, not zoned out of this, but advantage is still going to Fnatic's side.
Like we were talking about, Graves does not bring hard CC like a lot of junglers do. He does bring a lot of damage though. So if Licorice can actually set it up, then there is a possibility. I don't see it being super likely. Bottom side, though, trading very heavily, so that might be the area junglers do gravitate towards.
And crucially, that is a pre-level 3 fight right there. When 3 comes through, as this fight happens at the top side, a lot of health, actually, that Whippo might lose, but Svenskern's going to run away. But at 3, Sneaky gets the ability to stun whatever the setup is from Zeyzal, and that can start really turning this around.
Yeah, Fnatic always have to be careful. Another one.
Ooh, and they wait out the spell shield for Reckless, who's going to be stunned up now, takes some damage, but really good shielding Hylissang, weaving those E's through quite nicely.
But I like that saving the spell shield for the actual Q stun is what you're trying to do as Reckless. Obviously, Zeyzal knew that was going to happen, as you highlighted, Freak, so always mind games in the bottom lane when you play against spell shields. Meanwhile, top Svenskern did show up, got a bit of damage on Whippo, and that was basically it. But the Jace is currently out of mana, and Licorice is trying his best to just match farm. He's slightly down early on.
Yeah, that was the main point of Svenskeren showing his face up there, was there's so many minions in front of the turret. He was trying to buy Licorice time to get some last hits there in front. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, again, this exchange going pretty heavily in favor of the damage for the Azir.
Never mind.
This one goes for Licorice.
Yeah, that's actually pretty solid there in that top side. We know that Broxa is nearby and can come through if he's needed.
All right, so first trade, we got to see Licorice actually win. Obviously, Whippo is low on mana, as we highlighted before. He will go back and use TP to lane, most likely. Meanwhile, in mid, as we highlighted with the last pick, against Lissandra, like long-range poke is just so effective, because she can only really all in if she wants to threaten you properly, and that's why he sits with Cleanse and a dash on the Azir.
Yeah. But that's also why you see the teleport for the Lissandra. And Jensen, his teleport has actually been forced out already. And that's the reason that why he's staying even in CS right now. Has already used his first teleport back to lane after he was forced out there by the harassment of Azir's long range.
I want to see if C9 maybe go for a play into that mid side, though, and force the cleanse out early from Caps, then try again at 6 maybe, while the health bar is still low. And you have to give him kind of an itchy trigger finger to make sure he can stay safe.
For now, both junglers have been farming, other than that one little peek towards topside from Svenskeren. We are kind of waiting for Broxa to pull the trigger first. It feels like on a Xin Zhao. Graves would love to just say, okay, no one is ganking anything. Let's just trade farm for like 10 minutes. That is great for Svenskeren specifically.
First to level 5. Svenskeren's jungle's going so far okay. And they've matched pretty similar on the recalls there. And the division coming out for Brox's side. Going to be spotted out now by Sven as well.
Mid laner's recalling, so Sven's trying to get there in time, but Broxa does a good job killing this Scuttle Crab so quickly. Let's see if he continues with his invade, though.
There is a smite up for Svenskeren, but not one for Broxa. With Zeyzal around, he actually could have creep-jacked him, but don't know he was there, it seems.
So, and that was with both the bottom lane and the mid lane having recall.
Oh, they found him now, though. The stun is in. He's already burned the flash as well. Is this the kill? But out of nowhere, Hylissang Hillsong is in and finds the save. The Ignite's not going to be enough, and Fnatic survive.
Yeah, the reason Sven was waiting because he needed some more support. He knew the Fnatic bot lane had recall, but he didn't know exactly where they would be in terms of running back to the lane. Were they already in the jungle? Were they near the tier 2 turret or not? But the moment Zeyzal showed up, he knew, okay, you can force a flash here. It's a good early advantage in the jungle matchup. And that could be important to try and stop Whippo later from just perma-pushing his top side, because Aatrox will need help, as we can see right now in terms of CS difference. Well, bot again.
Big stun coming across as well. Later knocked on Hillsong, but good positioning by Reckless to let him dodge away out of that stun circle. And the game overall as a position, 100 gold lead for Fnatic. Their overall laning phase, most of that being done in the top side with 11 CS difference. Fnatic slightly ahead in this early game.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Sneaky definitely showing his experience on this Victor pick, even though not too much in the bottom side of the map. As you said, it was really important that Reckless positions far away from Hillsong so they get the max distance outside of the gravity field there to avoid that chain CC that you were talking about earlier, Freak.
We will most likely see when they actually go for another all-in that they try and get onto the Sivir, but she cannot dash out of the stun from Victor the moment she gets CC'd. And as long as Zeyzal just holds on to his Q until Spell Shield is gone, he actually has the advantage because it's just a quick animation. And if they manage to do that, Reckless will be stunned in place for quite a while, and that could be enough to kill him. But for now, he's playing very safe.
Also, this bottom lane presence for Cloud9 has allowed Sven to move in and take control of the river around Dragon. He could actually do it, but they don't have any vision on Broxah, so he's a little bit worried where the positioning of Xin Zhao is, since there's no deep wards in this game, and he's kind of hovering around a possible dive or counter gank here from the bottom lane.
New ward gets put in place right there to spot him. He will steal away the blue buff. Zeyzal can roam up and help him as well. And if you are Fnatic on bot side, you're just trying to hold on. You're just trying to survive. You know Sivir in late game teamfights will be a massive threat, a massive advantage for you. But early on, it's hard for her to do a whole lot against the Victor and Leona. So right now, it's just a battle against the clock almost, where Fnatic, they know eventually they will get dived, they will get, you know, ganked by a TP coming from Jensen, something like that, and the bot laner will die.
Okay, ult on a Reckless, though. He's not level 6, so he could lose a lot of health here. Burn Summoner, heal to get away from that fight. Ult down, and not another shot will land.
See if the junglers actually do get involved, because they left behind a little bit of vision there. They've seen Broxah at the Gromp right now. Meanwhile, Sven keeps up his power farm as well.
Cap's doing really well in the mid lane. Mana's getting a little bit low, but he has another Corrupting Potion stack if needed, and so far he feels safe. Broxah's spotted by the Scuttle Crab, and so it's waiting around on the wings, but no fights to be had just yet. Still a very close game. This one now Cloud9, 200 gold ahead.
I think they want the 2v2 here, even though Cap's a little bit low on mana.
Yeah, I don't know if Caps can do a full combo. They actually might not want to fight because of this. Junglers equal levels and similar on items. Boots up for Broxah.
We also know if a fight breaks out in the bot side river, it's C9's bot lane that's roaming first to join and try and turn it around. Caps' job is effectively to try and keep this lane pushed. So if Jensen ever leaves, roam or TP, the turret will take a ton of damage, or Caps can decide to move instantly and try and match a counter gank in the bottom lane.
And I think it is very important also to look at the experience there for the bottom lane. Zeyzal, once he hits level 6, then you do have a possibility of a big long-range stun to actually come in and change the fates of one of those teamfights. But as of right now, a lot of defensive vision for Fnatic in the river. You can see control wards on the top side, as well as trinket wards on the bottom side of the river. So Cloud9 don't have a lot of routes to create offensive plays, and they just continue to farm away.
Well, it's been a fairly slow-paced early game. Cloud9 actually have a positive win rate with a gold deficit at 15. They've actually been able to make comebacks happen. They're, despite a high first blood rate, not the most dominant early game team, but as you're mentioning, the overall scaling for Fnatic quite good. That Sivir at about 380 CS gets to full items, and Reckless can completely take over a game from that point onwards, and arguably before then. First few recall stuff coming through. Sneaky on his second Hex Core Augment. That was his first recall. Stayed on for a very long time. Blue handed off to Jensen. And we'll see as Caps is pretty much full resource. Is going to be, of course, missing that one as was stolen a little while ago by Sven. Still a holding pattern in the early game. Only a couple hundred gold difference between these teams.
Yeah, we're kind of just waiting for that fight in the bot lane, but Reckless and Hillsong are just staying so far back. Quick little trade for Sneaky right there. Nothing Reckless can do in return. He needs to always save the spell shield for that potential engage. Meanwhile, Svenskeren trying to control the bot side river with the Scuttler here.
It's actually pretty fortunate it's been bot side scuttle so many times. That is the one pressured lane that C9 has. Svenskeren can keep coming down to this bottom river, and it's been a source of strength here. This Cloud Drake not picked up just yet. There's really been a very low Drake pressure series so far.
Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for the tower dive from C9 against the bot lane of Fnatic, or at least when they move in behind the turret and then force Fnatic to run away to take that first turret of the game, because they know eventually the Jace will take the top lane turret if nothing happens and it's just a pure 1v1.
Yeah.
C9, they do have the option with the Sandra and Graves.
Big trade right here, pulling Whippo back, who's a bit low on mana now, but Licorice on a half HP. No one's coming to his side just yet, but this might be the time they go for the dive on the other side. There's the ward over the wall, not going to be stolen. And it's going to be still equal farm the two junglers. So another fight continues up the top side, pretty decent damage. Trading blows, but of course a very nice CS lead for Whippo. TP's available for the top laners. Now they're going to find that stun. The engage, look at the burst damage. And finally Cloud9 get first blood.
All right, let's see if they turn this into an objective afterwards. Broxah is on the bottom side, so they're going to start up this dragon, and there's a possible answer. Whippo's recalling right now to heal up. Maybe he teleports in, even though they lost Hylissang.
It depends what the wards and the waves look like, though, because, of course, Victor, it's completely free to push waves in here, so Cloud Drake going to be a formality here. Cena going to pick that one up after their 700 gold lead, and Zeyzal on the way towards mid ultiless, but no prey to find here.
Yeah, I like the fact that he just goes back to the top lane with the Jace. His goal is to win that lane as hard as possible while bot lane is surviving. It is obviously not to try and save the day just yet by going down here. Around mid lane, Caps and Jensen fighting.
A lot of damage coming through, looking for the play, not quite going to find it. The
they get it.
Just in range, the knockup is there, though. They might get him. Jensen has to self-ult to stay alive. Pretty big plays, though, on both sides. No kills, ults burned, and a huge knockback. That was sick by Caps. Over the wall he goes, the CC towards Zeyzal, but he's tanky, and C9 walk away 0 for 0.
Very, very close action here in the mid lane. Even after Jensen stops in point-blank range there, Hylissang does go for that dive with the recon, and now 5 members of Fnatic are around mid lane.
Oh, shock blast! And Whippo finds himself the solo kill. Hard work done by his teammates.
Oh, he walked down from the top lane. He knew Jensen could be around, recalling fairly low. Jensen could not flash in time, and it's Whippo with the kill.
Big cash in right there for Whippo. Wasn't able to get that big of a money lead off of the top lane there alone with Licorice, but just comes down to the mid lane to cash in, finds his gold there, and now he does have the Ghost Blade, so the lethality starting to come through and it's building up.
Well, we will most likely see a C9 kill bot lane now. Both summoners were used by Hylissang mid when he tried to get in charm range to stop Jensen from ulting himself. Couldn't just get there in time until it was under the turret. But now with no flash, squishy recon, all in from C9 is so powerful. Like, their goal is to get this bot lane tier 1 turret as fast as possible, start opening up the game, because when you do that, you also stop the Jace from taking over the top lane. And right now, Licorice is trying to slow down this push.
Yeah, I'm super interested to see if Hylissang's purchase of the Mercury Treads tenacity is going to be enough to find him that split second in between the crowd controls to try and disallow the Cloud9 stacking, but we'll see if that is enough. Right now, again, controlling this vision ward, around the river. Control wards put down for Fnatic to see the constant movement between bottom and mid.
Crazy shift, however, in game speed or amount of action compared to the first game, where Fnatic at this point were up 10 kills and 5-6k gold.
Very true.
Now it is, of course, a slower composition with the Zir, with the Sivir, and then the Victor Leona pick in the bottom lane, kind of dictating everything on the bot side. Scaron's fighting again.
Yeah, good damage there in the jungle, pushing forward. Zeyzal nearby as well, looks for Broxah, doesn't go in though. And it's still Caps being pushed back at half HP, has to run away.
Yeah, I think they were possibly thinking about forcing the flash there from Caps since his cleanse is on cooldown, and Zeyzal did have the ultimate. They were gonna trade those CDs, but here we go. Broxah actually might find him.
Spotted on both sides there with wards coming down, and it's going to be safe wave for Caps as Cloud9's going to walk away from this one as Jensen makes his way to the river. Still no turrets going down yet.
They're trying to just control the jungle by battle warding, as we hear a lot of people call it, when you just invade in with champions more than necessarily wards, and you just force them out.
There's the jump forward, a route towards Hylissang, still summonerless but staying alive. He jumps back to a teammate. And a nice blue buff steal now. Whippo actually answering back what Svenskeren had done a few minutes ago. Gonna feel pretty good, but the trade can continue now. Can anyone join into this fight soon as Hillfang's coming over, but so is Jensen. This is gonna be very quickly a 2-on-3 as they run towards the Herald. The ult's gonna find the stun. They're going in for Cass, but he's knocked back in the turret. Is it the burst damage? Yes, Zazel has all the kills on C9 and gets away from the turret. He's burning though, and it will be a trade kill. Nicely done to Broxa.
And they're not done yet. Whipple here trying to snipe people as they siege up on the turret. This whole time, Reckless is pushing the bottom lane turret. So C9 trying to get some damage and answer.
And no one answering bottom lane is a very good thing for Fnatic. Look how low this wave is. This could die this very wave right here unless C9 rush it down faster. They are staying, but Brox has cleared the wave away. And hard CC for Hylissang. He might lose his life, but he saves the turret. It gives first turret gold to Reckless.
What a play there. Hylissang actually with a big sacrifice to be able to get that small timing window to earn them that bonus. Topside, they are going to use the teleport to get back out on the field, though, and stop that damage as well.
All right, let's see what happened right here. No cleanse in the mid lane from Caps. He actually gets stunned by the ulti, and then of course Zazel can engage onto him, but with the knockback, they get Leona under the turret, and then she ends up going down in the end with the dot here. Meanwhile, I think Whippo had to flash over the Rift Hell wall because Licorice was chasing him.
Yeah.
So no flash topside from the Jace. Licorice got to push in the turret as well, but mid lane stayed alive for now. Fnatic slightly ahead in gold. More action is coming, and we keep looking towards the hard engage from the support.
That whole time, you know, with the row mid from the bottom lane of Cloud9, Reckless now actually has caught up and is ahead in CS in addition to the solo turret bonus gold that he got. So that's exactly where Fnatic want to put money, is on the Sivir to try and get those items.
Yeah, it really felt like the easy choice for C9 was just to go bot lane and secure the turret. Let's see what happens here.
They lose the shield up in time to not get burst down, but he's still at half HP, looking for a bit more. He's gonna find a stun, but spell shielded by Reckless, and an easy 1-for-0. Another well-played fight by the European team.
And this is kind of the problem now for C9 when they lost this bot lane turret is Fnatic don't have to sit there anymore with Sivir and the Rakan. Those two targets were getting pushed on the turret. You could have set up a tower dive very easily, killed them, taken an objective, but because they kept moving towards mid, they've given Reckless enough time to get out of this really tough laning phase, and suddenly it's Fnatic around mid lane getting a kill.
Fnatic kind of forcing C9 to play more of a macro game, playing around the side lanes, make the good rotations, and all C9 wanted to do was dive, dive, dive. They've not done a whole lot of that just yet, but now, looking at the top side, the 1v1, of course, keep in mind it's a summonerless Whippo, but he's playing this so well, pushing back Licorice, dodging a shock blast, but these trades keep going the way of Fnatic.
And look at the difference here. C9 putting more people on top side of the map to go for aggressive plays on the Jace and the Rift Herald, whereas Fnatic taking up the Ocean Drake for themselves for the regeneration, and they don't even have enough time to actually answer with the Rift Herald here. So Fnatic getting away with an extra objective there.
Let's see where Fnatic puts Reckless right now, because of course both Sivir and Azir kind of want to sit around the mid lane. Typically you just want to push the one side lane where Reckless or Caps are sitting, and then go join the rest of the team in mid, and you play the 1-4 setup where Jace is the only split pusher on your team. Reckless can do that now, but it does mean C9 gets the first push in mid with more members.
Now they're known to dive. They're going to find a slow on the Caps. Will they find their re-engage? Zazel not going to cheat far enough forward, but this turret's at 5 health. It will be cleared down, so one on the board for C9. But it's still Fnatic up about 1,000 gold in this game. Reckless shoved in the bot wave. It's getting denied to the turret right now. And we've seen that Whippo is constantly able to win these trades up against Licorice, popping the Yomus. Staying fine.
He's not been able to perma push the lane for a while because C9 has kept so many players around mid who could then eventually go top, as Kobe highlighted just before. Now he might get a chance as it's Fnatic's turn to push, and you will constantly see trades. When Fnatic push out bot lane, they give up control mid. When they go mid then with 4 players, it's C9 who has to go bot with someone and take the minions, so they have to give up control in mid, and it's a constant trade back and forth. The team who makes the mistake and disrespects the number advantage, they're the team who's going to lose someone or an objective somewhere.
And everybody gravitating up to the top side of the map here towards Rift Herald. It does despawn as Baron comes to play inside the pit, but not before Fnatic have taken another turret for themselves. Top side now also down, and the only one left standing on the outside here for Cloud9 is the mid lane for them to try and defend around.
So 1,500 gold up is Fnatic at the 20-minute mark here. Not quite the difference we had in game 1, but a lead nonetheless. And Fnatic so far looking like the better team on the day. And we'll see what later game Jace looks like. So far, Whipple's been laning well, and he's gotten that one snipe earlier on. We've yet to find ourselves these catastrophic team fights As we wait, Reckless almost at 2 items here. Jace, notably not normally a good team fighter, but Azir has got that Nashor's Tooth done and is pretty much online now for that.
Very, very true. Small change here compared to yesterday's Jace, where we got the double lethality early on that would hit people for like 60% of their HP when he landed a shock blast at 20 minutes. It is Black Cleaver instead, so focusing a little bit more on shredding armor against more tanky members, not necessarily the big squishies.
You've got 2 Aftershock members, and even Leona just prints armor onto herself by pressing W, so it's a good idea based on what you're hitting here. I think it's a very good build, and we will continue to wait as it's the much slower paced game. Not these dives we're normally seeing from C9 throughout the quarterfinals and the group stage. Fnatic able to play reactive, able to get a lot of farm. In fact, every single lane out-farming their opposite member here.
Yeah, especially Caps in the mid lane there. He's got the completed Banshee's Veil now. That, in addition to his cleanse, might allow him to get out of this, and fairly easily, we could say.
Just shuffles himself out, loses the Banshee's Veil, but doesn't mean enough. Top lane might fall, but mid's going to be answered. Fnatic consistently able to put pressure on this map, and though top lane will eventually drop, you have to imagine they're still getting more and more out of this one. All 3 outer turrets are gone, and Hillsong sees Zeyzal's here, kites back, stays alive.
C9 spending a lot of time hiding in the jungle, hoping to find that one pick. Either someone would walk through the jungle to defend top lane, or they could get onto Caps, but in the end, they only get the top lane turret. Bot lane did stay alive as well. Jensen, can he find a good engage here?
He's spotty. He's going to try, though, coming over the wall, looking for the play there. Not an ult just yet. Reckless cutting away. Fast pops the spell shield. Not going to drop, though. We saw the bot lane split push go pretty well. That turret's down to about 1/3 as Whippo keeps making the pressure happen. And Fnatic's so good at disengaging, denying these C9 dives, and continuing to leverage that Jace versus Aatrox match.
Ooh, just missed right there. Hillsong was face checking.
The double knockup is in. The 3rd charm is there as well. Here comes the shuffle. There's going to be a stun on the cast, but he cleanses it away. Zeyzal's low flashing out of this one. So far, all the team is staying alive, but Licorice joins in. Caps dies. Broxah might be next. He's running away. They're going to jump forward. They find a bit of damage. They're going to find the 2nd kill. C9 get a 2-for-0 team fight.
Yeah, they wanted to flash for that kill because taking down Broxah means there's no smite for Fnatic. Will they now force on the Baron? Zeyzal has gone back to base because he was so low in spend.
He's down to 300 himself, but they got to watch out for any other shock blasts or boomerangs, and you can see he's kind of running away from this one now. So Fnatic, despite being 3-on-5 on the map, still able to play for Minue's first.
Fnatic, they face check, dodged the first engage, and then called for the all-in, but the Jace was not there. He was running to the fight, didn't get to join in time. So Fnatic, while they did manage to actually get a fine engage at first, didn't seem like they had not enough damage here. Let's watch it again. So Engage comes in with 4 members. Look on your minimap, the Jace is currently not there. All in, nice flash from Sneaky, and Caps then gets stunned in the middle of the fight, and no one is dropping down. Lissandra with the great ulti as well.
Yeah, Whippo did not have his teleport, so that's why the Jace was so late here. Licorice teleports in on the Aatrox, but no Jace teleport to answer, and Cloud9 are able to get some kills for themselves with an Infernal Drake coming up in less than 50 seconds here on the map. We very well may have another fight shortly.
Well, the timing is going to allow for all the ultimates to be back up from cooldown, but the summoner spells burned in that last fight will not be available. And we can see Reckless already putting out pretty good work in these fights. 2,300, and that one tops the charts, and it's only going to get better from there.
Exactly. He's not on IH yet. He won't have it for this fight either when the Infernal spawns. C9 have a lot of damage on their side with Svenskeren on this Graves here, sitting on a completed Black Cleaver as well. So C9 definitely wants to look for more fights, right now. While in the bottom lane, Jensen tries to sneak in the brush.
So far in the fog, but look at how far back Cap's playing. He hugs the river, stays away from the brush, stays away from the fog of war, and always safe in these ones, so good heads-up play there. The mid lane is cleared back and forth, but now the Infernal is alive. Whippo has TP, but is running down from the top lane already, and Caps is soloing this Drake.
Yeah, Cloud9 have more members here, though. They might be able to burn it down before Fnatic arrive.
Yeah, it's theirs. And spotting Caps, they know Baron can't be rushed that fast. Even if Fnatic runs that way, it's not that big of a risk just yet.
It's all about just killing the wards over there for Fnatic. They knew taking this fight would have been too risky. Caps tried his luck by starting it, hoping that C9 would be too far away or just not reacting in time.
Caps having no flash, no cleanse is a very good mark for C9. I do appreciate, again, as you're saying, try to sneak it. If you get lucky, then great. But, you know, making the smart choice of, okay, they showed, we'll back off, no problem here. Good play. And again, I think Fnatic have to play around those cooldowns. Those summoner spells are required to win these team fights. And so for a little while, Cloud9 will have map control.
Yeah, the 2 carries there for Fnatic, both with spell shields. Now, going to be fairly difficult to dive in on, and we'll have to look for layered spells, trying to pop those early in the fight. Whereas Cloud9 now laying down the control wards around Baron, trying to create a pocket of fog of war to look for those picks like we just saw a couple minutes ago. Make use of the Leona and the Lyssandra's very quick initiation.
We have pickaxe on Reckless and about 1,500 gold at this point. He desperately wants the eye edge. But it's C9 who can dictate the pace because they have the Baron control. If they start it, Fnatic have to react. And that's when you can get the all-in engage from C9.
Just look how safe Caps is, right? Clears wards from the back of the pit, has his soldiers ready. C9 puts a new one down, but it's going to be so hard to catch this guy. Cleanses up right about now. Banshee Veil obviously already done a while ago.
It's such a tense moment right now. If you're Fnatic and you keep going towards the late game, it gets just better and better with your Zia and your Sivir. If you are C9, you have so much all-in, so much burst damage. If you can actually catch someone, you take them down in just a matter of seconds.
Hey, here comes the play forward towards Sneaky. The nice floating. What a play out of Whippo. It's a 5v4 for Fnatic, and the fight continues in the front lines. The rest of the team dives forward. A little bit of low health bars on the Jace. They're trying to get a trade kill here as C9. They can't get him yet. They finally get the shutdown. It goes over to Graves, but it's a shutdown as well towards Lickers on the top side. Fnatic 2-1.
Yeah, 2-for-1 for Fnatic, and that gives them control over the Baron pit. All those wards we just saw C9 place are going to be cleared out, and they're starting it up.
Such an insane call by Fnatic. They were the ones stalling and waiting while C9 were trying to look for picks, and they all in on the no flash Victor.
But there is a Graves with a TP and a smite, or a flash and a smite, and the Scryer's Blue's gonna spot that Baron for a long time. Jensen poked out Caps, playing it so well, knocks in Zeyzal. They'll find another kill, and they're back on a Baron, and the vision's gonna be hard. Somehow Cloud9 must make another big Baron steal. Halosun buys the time, and it's not gonna be picked up by Cloud9. It will be Fnatic smashing the map.
Broxa gets the smite, and Fnatic also get the kills onto Cloud9. Now they have Baron buff to try and push with.
Perfect timing from Hylissang, trying to get in there and CC the Graves so they could burst down Baron before he had time to flash in. He got in the end, but he couldn't get it. Sneaky's flash, I believe when this whole fight started, just got ready. But it wasn't enough for him to actually get out of the engage from Fnatic.
And Whippo's own flash there to dodge the Leona stun, get to the side, finish up the kill. So allow them, yes, in the end they do trade top laners here, but Fnatic, as we saw with the extra damage, starting up Baron, and then they actually force this. They have confidence in Broxa to be able to secure that.
Yeah, this whole thing is amazing shot calling from Fnatic. Finding the pick in mid, stopping C9 from getting full control of the map, and then Hylissang CCing Svenskeren so he can't get into the pit early enough, and Fnatic secure it. It's been really one of the biggest improvements of this team during this tournament is their Baron setups and how they can manage to do Barons under pressure, not giving a lot of chances for other teams to kill them or steal the Baron.
It's looking really good now for Fnatic. 5,000 gold up, looking at a quick disengage as mid turret is falling rather low, and a few more shots will put that one in, and Cloud9's going to cede control. Fnatic get farther and farther ahead, looking at a 2-0 start for this best of 5. They're getting closer and closer to this one as gold lead now closer to 6,000.
And now they also got the items they were looking for before a big 5-on-5 team fight. But they created that great pick in the mid lane. Whippo and Hylissang on the bottom side, pushing another one. All outer turrets gone.
And a good macro game for Fnatic. They split the map up. They were able to play fast in game 1. They got a lot of really good ganks out of Broxa. They got every lane ahead, and they just completely crushed it. This one, a lot more slow. Whippo on the side lane, split pushing, the advantaged matchup over Licorice. And that continued to create more and more and more pressure. Fnatic heavily up in turrets here.
And they're very well set up to use this Baron buff effectively. They split their big solo lane range in top and bottom here. Whippo and Hylissang actually going in on Licorice.
I don't find too much though as Licorice puts in a bit of damage now being slowed up and woof, down below 1,000 HP as well. And they're going to go for the big play, and this one he's going to have to put the ult, but the minion was in the way. So here comes the hard engage, and it's going to be Fnatic biting off more than they can chew. Cloud9 pick up 2 kills, but their base is under fire. Top inhibitor turret's gone already. Mid one's almost gone as well. Will there be a re-engage? The Banshee's Veil is off. Zeyzal has an ult, but Caps has cleanse.
Oh, gets the slow. Walks away with the cleanse right there. So 2 kills bot lane for C9, but top inhib just died. Mid lane turret didn't drop. But will of course not get that much HP back. Fnatic can easily walk down and actually take it down. Next time they end up pushing. In the end, C9 knew we need to do something. We have to force an engage somewhere or we're just going to lose too many turrets. They couldn't stop their Zia top lane. And this is the engage on bot side.
Yeah, Hylissang goes in. They wanted to try and combo Licorice there before he could pop his ultimate, but the Shock Blast got blocked by minions, and Cloud9, as he said, they commit to the bottom side to try and kill off one of these points of pressure. In doing that, Fnatic take the top inhibitor and almost the mid inhibitor turret. Cloud9, though, back out for the Cloud Drake, and they will secure it.
Take what you can when you're on the map right there. Double Cloud is at least mobility, but might not matter if they're stuck inside their base with a 6,000 gold deficit. Fnatic get kind of all the say of what happened in this game. Elder Dragon will spawn at 37. We'll see if it matters in this one.
And the carries for Fnatic are actually so safe right now. Reckless, in addition to having Spell Shield, has both Summoners and a QSS. We already talked about Caps and his Banshee's Veil, as well as his Flash being available, and Azir just being such a good champion for self-peeling that it becomes very difficult for C9 to actually catch them off guard and force it. Here they go, though. They're going on Broxah.
They found a slow, but he has Flash. He's not going to be knocked down. Spencer the Heavy Piece of diving forward on this one. Broxah building so much space. And a Charm into the back line. Hylissang getting safe, getting right back away. Now Licorice forces a Flash to the wall. But look at that one as Bubba knocks him back, but still cutting away. It's still the 5-on-5. Health bar is a bit low, but no kills picked up here. Out they go.
In the end here, Fnatic, they saw an opening for an engage, but then they also noticed Aatrox on the side, and 4 members just instantly switched and chased Licorice instead. They didn't actually get anything. Flash still available on the C9 side.
Yeah.
Hylissang ended up finding 2 players with the knockup, but no one followed him. They all chased the Aatrox.
Okay, here it comes. Fnatic with super minions on top side. Only a couple hits on this mid turret.
Tight timings here. C9 going to clear the wave, and they're going to walk over to top side. Keep in mind, this could be backdoorable easily by Fnatic. Going to walk forward, couple shots in for Whippo. They knock the turret down. Will this be the fight? In goes Licorice, and it's a big bunch of damage. They popped off one, but here comes the backline access. Licorice wants to flash away. It's 2 for 1, 3 for 1. Kills coming across as C9 picks up the cup from the backline. Oh, look at Caps! He's done everything, and Sneaky falls. A massive quadra kill for Caps. This will be 2-0, and Fnatic are a single game away from the World Finals.
Insane ultimate right there from Caps to get the quadra kill and finish out that game.
Massive, massive performance out of Fnatic mid laner here into this one. He has looked so good all series long. LeBlanc in game 1, Azir in game 2. Pretty much flawless the entire way through this one.
Yeah, so game 1, we saw early game Fnatic dominating. Game 2, we got the late game Fnatic defending from the bot side in the early game, defending mid with all the roams coming from C9 to try and kill them. They managed to stay alive for so long, and in the end, you called it, Freak, some good macro moves to actually find a great pick on Sneaky that gets them the Baron, and then we get these final team fights where it felt like there was enough damage on C9 to kill the front line.
Yeah.
But then there was an Azir standing and just doing doot, 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 and eventually you kill him.
3-item Azir, 3-item
a little bit more than doot, doot, doot.
Works pretty well. They cut it nicely. So well played by Fnatic. And now for a closer look on how that 2-0 start has happened, let's head over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. 2-0 lead now for Fnatic in this best of 5. Not quite as dominant as the first game, although the way it ended, they definitely looked like they were still in control and feel much more comfortable on the Rift overall than any of the Cloud9 members.
But that is kind of the nature of the composition that both teams, especially Fnatic, really put together. You're not going to get that same explosive, dominant performance when you have an Azir and a Sivir. You have that late game insurance policy. You can play the big 5v5 because you can create a lot of distance there. And I think that this was a pretty clean sweep by Fnatic.
I want to come to you, though, Jap, because we were talking about, you were very quick to disavow Cloud9 after game 1. Citing the draft as one of the things that, instilled some fear in you.
Right.
They've definitely tried something different and new here in game 2. What were your thoughts on it?
So the thing they stuck with was the solo lane bans, and the LeBlanc ban was very disheartening. But I was actually happy to see the Victor first pick. Once they flexed at bottom lane, I was like, wow, that was actually super clever at one lane. That's kind of like, I feel like they're drafting trump card.
Yeah.
So the fact that that still wasn't enough to take down Fnatic, because it made them switch things all over the map. Like, it made them play 2 late game laning picks in Azir and Sivir, but they just out-CS'd every single lane and then won team fights. It was impressive by Fnatic.
But at least Cloud9 had something. They had a very destructive draft, right? Their pick power here is insane. Their burst damage is huge. The problem is, the reason, again, why I saw how C9 could win, but I thought Fnatic overall would win a best of 5 is it felt more like controlled explosions that Fnatic could deal with rather than explosions by C9 that would blow open the game. Just like against EDG, there were these moments like, oh, a double kill. This could be the moment C9 takes it over. But somewhere else on the map, Fnatic were getting more. They never fell into a gold hole. It never feels like they're 5,000, 8,000 gold behind, despite there being highlight moments for the enemy team. And by the end, it takes one big play and the game just ends. It never drags out.
We are just further exploring the rabbit hole of picks. You mentioned gold differentials between Game 1 and Game 2 here on your screen. Now, C9 actually up just a little bit at 15, where they were down almost 6K in Game 1. And so I think it speaks to, again, just the fact that it was a closer Game 2. But when you look at the compositions, when you look at the how willing Fnatic is to just scale at even gold, it makes that stat look less impressive.
And it's also the fact that, as they were saying, you know, things were going right. You could see where Cloud9 had their win conditions, where Fnatic were going to have their win conditions in terms of the roadmap set by both comps, but it was just a single mistake. And that's what's really troubling when you look at this best of 5. Depending on whatever happens in these last few games, it's the fact that right now Fnatic are winning on a micro level. They're winning in the flex game level, the fact that Cloud9 have to pull out those trump cards, and they're also winning on a macro level, that they're able to find that single pick, know exactly where they need to be on the map, and then execute and destroy and eat up the rest of the
Here's
map.
that pick you're talking about in the mid lane. Sneaky gets obliterated by the flanking Jace.
Flashless Victor, fight to follow. Yes, they kill Whipple because he burned his flash, but they also get Licorice. So then you're put in this situation where you say, okay, we have 4 people alive. We have 1 Ocean Drake. It's going to help us heal up a tiny little bit. Let's go. And you have to be super clean in your communication. Who do you peel for? How do you secure the Baron? And I think they do that. As you watch this, they very quickly secure Svenskeren so he can't get in a smite. And there is a misplay by C9 that we have to watch for. Watch Jensen. He's planning to self-ult, but he doesn't get it off.
The tournament here, one thing that we have seen in Worlds 2018 is Baron setups have been better than ever before. We're seeing very much fewer Baron steals. You see Hillsong is over the wall. By the time Svenskeren flashes in, he's out. And like you mentioned, Jat, the self-ult doesn't happen. He was caught between trying to interrupt a smite, maybe try to burst with his self-ult. In the end, does neither. And honestly, the game, one more exception, but the game largely ends through that play.
Oh, absolutely. There is the attempted base defense by Cloud9. Results in a quadra kill for the Fnatic mid laner Caps and the Azir. It was a close fight, but then you see kind of that mid to late game prowess of the Azir damage if left untouched.
And the nature of the composition is with Azir and Sivir, you have so much hyper-scaling potential, but also the fact that you have so much reach. You can play such a safe team fight as long as these 2 carries are still alive.
But the takeaway should be, usually you need a big front line for the Azir to auto-attack away. And at the start, you're thinking this might be C9's fight. However, all the cooldowns are down when the Emperor's Divide comes out, and then who needs a front line when the wall's doing all the work?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't think Caps needs a front line at all when
Not
he has
in
such
that
a
case,
perfectly
no.
placed
He brought his own front
ultimate.
line with the Emperor's Divide.
Soldiers, exactly. I mean, an incredible amount of damage coming out of that champion there in the late game team fight. Frost, what are your thoughts?
But what's also really important is we see 2 back-to-back games where Jensen falls back to the Lissandra because he wants either a safe blind pick or he wants to have the soft answer to LeBlanc to survive the lane phase. And we already saw Rookie take this matchup or take the opposite side where he was Lissandra, and he also got blasted by the Azir. So Caps has shown that he's ready for the counter picks. He understands what the priority picks are, and we don't know how deep his champion pool can still go in this best of 5.
And Caps again picks up your MasterCard player of the game for his performance on that Azir. Jensen really has his work cut out for him if he wants to take this guy down in the next 3 games.
Absolutely. I mean, Caps in this game, but also in this series, has been living up to his pre-tournament expectations. He did have some slightly weaker games in the quarterfinals or in the group stage, but he's really showing up here. You can see it starting in the draft phase, the things that they're willing to do, like the first pick LeBlanc, the fact that Cloud9 is banning Akali and Aurelia, and also LeBlanc on their blue side, and then he's still doing this. He's showing his superiority in this series.
And Fnatic is showing the big outplays, whether it's through Caps or just in Game 1, the styling they put out. But they have those core fundamentals that, even in a draft that would have surprised anyone, the Victor bot lane since sparingly in Korean solo queue, but by no means a meta trend, they were still able to analyze on the fly, lose the minimum, and then take over the game. And that's the sign of a world finalist right there.
But just at the beginning of today, Joe, we were talking about how Jensen has somewhat returned to his own form, you know, to this aggressive playstyle where he's able to pick up solo kills. So of all the matchups I'm looking at, when I look at that mid lane, I would assume that Jensen is capable of matching up against this guy, and yet Lissandra twice, and yet lose twice.
Listen, if Cloud9 wants any chance in this series, we've never had a reverse sweep in Worlds. If they have any chance in the series, Jensen has to beat Caps in the 1v1. no matter what, it has to happen.
And he'll have to do it without side selection. Riot Games' first global sponsor, MasterCard, wants to reward fans who go all out to celebrate the greatest tournament of the year by enhancing their experience and naming them the MasterCard Fans of the Day. More London natives, Nick, Kirsten, Sarah, and Rick, decided to arrive in Gwangju in style by repping some of their favorite players' signature champs, whether it's Ambition's Jarvan, Crown's Talia, or Sneaky's Sivir. Now, Fnatic are just one game away from sweeping C9 and booking their trip to the finals. See if they can close out the series when we return.
When someone cosplays as Sneaky.
Yeah, so pizza. TP's available to the top laner. Not gonna find that stun. The engage, look at the burst damage. They lose the shield up in time to not get burst down, but he's still at half HP, looking for a bit more. He's gonna find a stun, but spell shielded by Reckless.
Come. Maybe we can stop him. Maybe just go solo. Can we finish? Yeah. Nice one. He flashed in. Let's go, guys.
It's 2 for 1, 3 for 1. Kills coming across. As C9 pick up the backline. Oh, look at Caps. He's done everything.
Welcome back to Level Up, presented by State Farm. As of patch 8.14, Shelly prioritizes minions and turrets over champions, so try to activate her trinket when the enemy minion wave is cleared so she remains undistracted. Since hard CC can cancel the summoning of Rift Herald, try popping the trinket out of sight, perhaps just out of lane. This makes it harder for the enemy team to interrupt you. A safe summon will also give her a direct line of sight for a turret charge, which at minimum deals 1,500 damage. If executed properly, this offers you a ton of map pressure and allows Rift Herald to do what she loves, net you some sweet turret gold.
Hey, rise, rise. Make them remember. Yeah, busy chasing round with you on the downtown. There's blood on the crown. Come and run again. We wanna do this right now.
Welcome back to the World Semifinals. Here you can see the World's MVP trophy, which will be awarded next week based on votes from a panel made up of representatives from around the world. And as Fnatic hope to lock their spot in the finals, well, we've got Champion Select right here. Let's get into it. Fnatic hoping for a 3-0 sweep of Cloud9.
Let's see here. Fnatic sticking to the same bans with Zillion, Nocturne, Alistar, C9 again, Akali, Irelia. And they take away the LeBlanc that was first picked in Game 1 by Fnatic.
It really does seem like Caps here and Fnatic with the extra hand as far as the Assassins mid lane, giving them a lot in Champion Select. Cloud9 once again will go with this combo though. Early Xin Zhao with the defensive Braum.
But Fnatic just first picked Aatrox, and Victor was not picked by C9 as an answer. Last game when they had the Victor, they put it in the bottom lane. Fnatic can now grab it, and the Aatrox counter pick that we have seen a lot is gone.
Yeah, Cloud9 have had other counter picks to Aatrox as well, you know, like the Hecarim as well as, you know, basically anything
Jace,
with a lot of
everything.
speed. Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of things here.
But I like this adaptation, though. Cloud9 have locked in the Lucian the first phase. Finally, it was consistently banned away in the second ban phase, so now C9 get their ideal bot lane duo. The only ban they've received for this entire role is the Alistar. This is what they wanted to play. It's what led them to a lot of victory in the Afrika 3-0. So now maybe C9 have that bastion of power they really want in the bottom lane.
Definitely agreed that it's a good choice here for them. I like the Lee Sin ban as well. They left it open in the first game, and Broxah took over.
Meanwhile, Fnatic with both solo lanes possibly locked in here. You know, Aatrox can be shifted to the jungle, but likely both solo lanes locked in, whereas Cloud9 still to determine. I expect Cloud9 to save their counter pick for Jensen. FLICKR has a deeper champion pool, it feels like, more answers than Jensen has had. As far as the mid lane goes, maybe they want to jump on something early for him, though, because he doesn't have quite as many. You know, the Lissandra is up. That's what they've played over and over here.
Right. Yeah, we obviously assume that most of the focus early game is around the bottom side where you have your Lucian pick. Do we get a tank top lane from FLICKR? His Shen and Ornn has been two of the most used ones from him.
So the Poppy has been his best answer into Aatrox as far as tanks go, if you're looking for a tank answer. And that is another one that they could go with. But yeah, there's the Lissandra they want to lock in for Jensen over and over again. And
Zaya comes through for Fnatic, so Reckless on another high damage champion. He was a big force in the previous game. He's going to have a decent chance at it here, and Rek'Sai comes through for Fnatic. I love that new things keep showing up during this final, what could be the final game, I should say, our last semifinal series at least.
Broxah threw out an Elise game earlier in the tournament.
Yep.
Now he's just going to throw out a Rek'Sai game here. This is a champion that does have early game power. You have burst damage, as well as a single target knockup now, and he can go for more creative jungle ganks. This is one of the ones where you'll see going over walls behind duo lanes or top laners easily.
Okay, and they're gonna go round 2 on the Echo top to face off what they assume to be Victor up there, and that seems very likely. This is going to be an interesting one. In the previous games, Svenskeren had maybe a bit of a fumble, giving a bit too much pressure over to Whippo. Whippo had his way with Licorice. We might also see these champions switch roles as the swaps can go back and forth. I'm going to be interested to see which matchups we actually have player versus player, top versus top, and mid versus mid.
And then also see if it is the Echo versus Victor top, can we get a bit more jungle attention towards the top? They keep swapping it around.
We're just going to wait until 20 seconds. And of course, Jensen had a famous Echo mishap before. They're going to give it over to Licorice. It's going to be Jensen 3 times in a row on the Lissandra, and it is that Echo and Victor locked in for the top laners. We assume they will go to the top lane, but that is still not a guarantee.
Sure. Recap, though, from game 1 when we had this matchup. Early trades in favor of Licorice. He even used early TP back to lane to continue to pressure against the Victor. However, the first gank that came in from Svenskeren ended up backfiring. He died, gave a kill over to Whippo, and then we also saw Licorice die to a counter gank from Fnatic, and the lane started swinging. towards the victor.
And that was also after Broxah had already ganked mid lane and gotten Fnatic the advantage in mid lane as well. So junglers, a huge amount of weight on their shoulders in influencing the early lane phase for these solo lanes and which one of these guys can actually take over the game.
It's going to be an exciting one here. Cloud9's backs against the wall. They are no strangers to reverse sweeps here in League of Legends on their road towards Worlds and even beyond that one. Fnatic, though, coming into the championship as the hope of the West, the European champions. They were the one people had pegged as the dark horse to make the deep run. And they have 3 chances in a row now to make it to the final. The first time Europe has done that since 2011 when they started it all. And Fnatic would be against the team that they had beaten in the group stage in Invictus. So much confidence, maybe you call it cockiness on Reckless and the rest of Fnatic. They think they can win this entire thing. So far, they have been the far better team compared to C9. And we'll see if they can do it here. Cloud9 must make this 3 in a row.
Hylissang jumped over the wall early on. Let's see if they can sneak in behind anyone. Might be Zazol sitting in this little brush here.
Yeah, he's waiting on his cooldown right now.
Huge trade.
A lot of anticipation for the Braum Q. It does land, so
yeah,
points there for accuracy. We do have a defensive Poro, but that is about it. Everybody, after seeing the attempt here, just happy to back off and should just be normal red starts for both junglers, but we'll see about the pathing as far as which lane they want to influence first, as this could be easily tilted.
Right now, Fnatic were protecting for the level 1 invade that actually happened also in game 1 when Zazol had the Braum and he walked in and forced Broxah away from the red buff. He had to take his own blue on top side and it gave an early advantage over to C9, but not this time. Rek'Sai gets the best start possible with a giant leash as well from Rex and Hylissang.
And a good start for FLICKR here as well, plenty of damage. Electrocute Triggered as well. Triggered, there we go, that's the word. Proct was in the middle of my brain as well.
Yeah, Bwipo gets 3 autos on the way out, though, to almost even up that health trade, I think. And they're right back after trying to push this forward. Minion wave slightly in his favor. Svenskeren actually started the sweeper here. Interesting, trying to take down this Scuttle Ward before he moves over to the top side of the map. And this time around, kind of like we set up in game number 1, the option for Svenskeren to try and split the map here and close off the top side of the map to allow Licorice his solo 1v1 time in this matchup to really try and display the Echo into Victor.
He did go mid here instead of invading on the top side. Will go and grab his own buff on the bottom side here while Licorice gets a good trade against Bwipo. Meanwhile, Broxah love to do this like red buff into a camp. Oh, he's ganking.
Walking forward, finds the flash knockup. Jensen able to E away, though, losing some health, but not a summoner spell. That was a very aggressive gank out of Broxah and doesn't get a whole lot for it.
Yeah, junglers have traded sides. They both pass through mid. Svenskeren now making another pass there. Jensen can't set him up, though, and Broxah will be able to chase down. Actually, he pulls out of the jungle. Svenskeren coming back and trying to secure his own red side.
Yeah, with the mid lane pushing against Fnatic, invading here would have been pretty greedy. He got the ward down to spot. Sven is still not taking a blue buff. He did Rift Guard on the top side, then did the one on the bottom side. Broxah will secure his own blue here. But first gank with the flash unsuccessful from Fnatic and the Rek'Sai pick, the big surprise.
The big trade in the mid lane, but Jensen so far has been able to play pretty well against this one, able to trigger Aftershock every time and get away from most of these plays. And so far so good for him. Still has a bunch of corrupting potion stacks as well. Cap still has his potion for the lane on top of that.
Meanwhile, checking in on the bottom lane here, Lucian Braum, what Cloud9 used against the Freak of Freaks for a lot of bottom lane presence, has been able to push in. But Reckless and Hylissang doing just fine in CS there, actually ahead. And with a couple extra minions here, Sneaky might be able to catch right back up.
Yeah, so far an equal lane down here, not a huge surprise just yet. We're going to wait to see if the big aggressive plays do come in. A flashless Broxah might give a lot more confidence to the C9 squad. Still waiting for that play. Watch out for the feathers, though. Can pull them back, and Sneaky gets rooted up, and a knock-up, and he just walks into him. He's going to die to the Ignite. There's no way out. First blood comes through to Hylissang. A huge, massive misplay out of Sneaky.
Saw something kind of similar when he played against Uzi and walked into the feathers right behind them. Reckless with the callback right there, able to just spring the traps, take down Sneaky, and acquire first blood for Fnatic.
See the setup again. 2 feathers behind, 3, and then Sneaky actually, yeah, simply just walks in right where the feathers were placed, and quick pullback from Reckless. And This is such a big problem now because this was the big change for you in the draft. We've seen the Echo already, we've seen the Lissandra, but the Lucian pick in the first phase, it was always banned by Fnatic in the second phase. He grabs it this time around, and now he's losing lane early on due to Reckless landing the snare onto him.
And it's a 1,000 gold lead now for Fnatic. That's way more than just the first blood itself. So across the board, a great start here for the EU LCS champions. Back-to-back victories over in Europe. They lived in G2's shadow for quite a while, but a couple of victories here. Hylissang joining the roster this time around, Whippo as well in this year, and it's been a very good run now, winning in their potential last game in the semifinals.
Yeah, this has definitely been the best way to bounce back and become the #1 team in Europe, become the powerhouse again that every European fan always looked towards when it came down to international performances. Fnatic have done everything right in 2018.
Reckless has talked a lot about it himself in interviews as well, about his own change from previous Fnatic iterations and his confidence in his teammates' playmaking ability. This time around, does feel like they're firing on all cylinders. Cloud9 looking to fire around mid lane as they've got 3 people grouped up around Caps. Svenskaren's on a ward, Zazel
Be the play.
off.
They find the root. Keep in mind, Caps has ult. He's going to pop that here. He'll be able to get away after the revive. Health bar will be at about 1/8, but he's still able to slink backwards.
So C9 went behind in the early game. Once again, look towards mid. Svenskeren and Zazel were sitting in these brushes for at least 30 seconds, waiting for an opening. Caps is very low.
Flash ult. If they go for the dive, he's in E into flash ult range. Caps could die. He's got teammates. Not going to go for that play. Jensen pulls aggro. Caps only at 300 HP. Has his own flash, of course, keep in mind.
Hylissang is also around. He's sitting with the team now under this turret. Meanwhile, top.
Creative ults up here. This is FLICKR's getting quite low. Has to make sure he can respect everything else. Does he ult back for the trade? He could ult back and go for more fights. No, it's already on cooldown. Sorry, take that back. He earned it in a prior fight. So Whippo gets FLICKR incredibly low, and FLICKR without TP is going to stay low in this lane.
You can always tell if there's no ghost following Echo.
I wasn't paying attention.
He can't go back to it. If you're playing against one of that champion, then it will be an easy indicator for the...
Next time, stay spectator, Buck.
No.
There you go.
No, that's on me. I'm a better player than that normally. I'm just rusty or terrible or something else. Who knows? Either way, 600 gold difference in Cloud9 now looking at the bottom side, but walking through wards while they're doing it. And it's pretty easy for Ruckus to back off and stay safe here.
This is what we expected from the draft with the Lucian Braum. Some attention towards this lane here. See if they could actually push it in, potentially tower dive, or just take the turret. It is still full HP. Obviously, the first kill went over to Reckless, but we see the control of the bot side now.
Yeah, especially since there's an Infernal Drake on the map. A lot of pressure around bottom side will give you some pretty big rewards here. Svenskeren goes in.
Bit of decent damage, and it's actually going to be minions denied away regardless. Fnatic not going to get this cannon for gold. They will get XP on Reckless's side, but it is money being lost on the map right now. So this pressure, it's not a kill, but it's several hundred gold lost all the same.
Caps is potentially moving down. There's no TP from Jensen. Will force C9 away. Even Caps just sitting in a brush here, hiding out of vision. He knows he doesn't need to walk all the way down. He just needs to have the chance. And C9 needs to call that he's missing from mid lane, so they have to watch out.
Nice bit of knockups there. Caps gonna land 2 sweet spots, make it almost all 3. The self-ult for Jensen, but his healing is cut in half. Now looking for the re-engage. Caps will take some damage, but walking away pretty cleanly. Flash still up, no danger to him.
And his ult will come up pretty quickly as well. The World Ender is coming off cooldown, but Cloud9 are pushing on all lanes at the moment, trying to keep Fnatic bottled up and force them into more defensive playstyle, which has found a little bit of success here early on as all the vision control in the river is on Cloud9's side.
Yeah, C9 basically had all the tools to actually snowball this early game. Good lane setup, early jungler with Gao, top lane.
FLICKR is out of mana. He actually can't ult back anyway, so they're going to quickly reveal him. The knockup is almost a formality, and this will be the kill. There is no way out. Broxa knocks down Licorice in the top lane.
Able to find the kill here, and now they can push out the top lane. This is going to completely turn the tides here for Fnatic.
No TP, can't rejoin. It's a really good thing now for the EU LCS champions. 900 gold ahead. Winning across the map everywhere. Even bot lane looks pretty solid.
Exactly.
Come through.
And we just said this before, I feel like C9 had the lanes to keep the pressure going in the early game. They even had Broxa blow his flash on the first gank and not get anything for it, with a Xin Zhao jungle on the other side, but then with Sneaky dying in the bottom lane, getting outplayed by the fellas, and now a gank top side. from Broxah that gives him a kill, Fnatic have just completely stopped C9 from getting ahead in this game.
Yep, definitely respect to Fnatic, outclassing today, setting themselves up, looking towards IG and how dominating they were in their semifinal.
Yep.
This builds a lot of hype as far as the possible final matchup between those two teams.
And it does look Fnatic favor, but it is not out of reach just yet. I do want to keep ourselves on what C9 can do so far in this game. Only 1,000 apart. Infernal Drake can kind of bridge that gap really closely as far as stats are concerned. And this seems to be a pretty free pickup here as well. So I think we are completely within arm's reach here in game 3. Cloud9, of course, must make a reverse sweep. They must win 3 in a row. And that is the prayer from everyone, all the North American fans here and the C9 players themselves in this series.
We're just kind of waiting for C9 to look for a big play, because they need that. It's not the small wins anymore. Like, bottom side, when you have Illusion versus Azaya, you're going to get outscaled. But in the early game, even now when it is just even in CS and you're down 1 kill, you have enough damage with a jungler coming down, or Lissandra. They'll trade top lane.
Have a nice stun from Whippo. He's going to get damage to Licorice. There's the self-ult backwards, but going to be Whippo kiting away. Nicely done. Gets out of that fight. Licorice comes out ahead in HP. But Whippo still has a lot of tools to use.
And the positioning is so important in that 1v1, as you can see. Well, now we've got another one in mid lane.
And it's a pretty close fight here. And not quite the sweet spot, but pretty good damage all the same. And Jensen keeps himself out of range.
Yeah, so the positioning there, you can see Whippo moving up. Never mind, we're gonna have another fight.
Yeah, they're battling back and forth. He's staying alive, but now we've got another battle. It's in different spots in the map now as Sven's gonna go in for the fight. The ult to buy some time. No damage just yet. Brock's getting a bit low. Now the root on the Caps. He's got a lot of time to go until he's forced to revive, and that is a great pick up with the flash forward. Now the turnaround, but they're gonna burn him down with the revive, and about 600 HP now on this Aatrox, but they will get the trade kill, and C9 are on the board.
Oh, let's see if Fnatic's bot lane can do anything. Looks like they're too far away for now. Oh, and here we go.
The charm is on, but they're not going to find the knockup just yet. Actually, they get nothing out of this one, and Reckless could be stunned. They're not going to find that, though, and out goes Fnatic. But here is the TP. Here is the trade fight. Looking for the big play is Licorice. The flash of the wall. Hillsong is going to stay safe.
Teleport used to the bottom lane. That means up top side, Whippo is going to get damage on that turret as Cloud9 try and retreat. That will also allow him a full reset and sync up the extra cooldown.
I mean, we said we needed a big play from C9. Not a small win, but they had to go for that.
Oh, he's blasting over! Zazel flash puts the shield up. He'll stay alive with Guardian. A lot of summoners burned. I think it's actually a disadvantageous trade as Fnatic burned 3.
Well, let's just look at summoners all across the board right here. Licorice blew his TP, got a flash from Hylissang for it. That was basically it. Jensen, no flash on his side. Zazel, same thing due to the last fight. But as you highlighted here, Freak, everything gone from Fnatic's bottom lane. Only Whippo sitting with a flash on his side, so there's a lot of openings the next minute or two for more fights to happen and people dying.
And we really want to emphasize that use of the teleport for Cloud9. Trying to put emphasis on the team play there and pull something out of the jungle. Licorice actually lost a lot of CS teleporting away from the lane. As you can see now, Whippo getting off the recall as well, so you get an extra reset for this Victor, and he's already been able to solo burn that Echo ultimate and retake a lot of control of this top lane presence. Now he also has a stopwatch to use for a possible all-in. You really do need to keep those key items in mind when you go for these big plays.
There's so much space in this lane to move out of the stun every single time, so Licorice can't lock him down, but I feel like this game reminds me a lot about the last game with C9 having tools to make plays bot lane, but always moving it mid lane, where Fnatic are able to answer and match the aggression almost every time. But now we're back. This is what I want to see. Get this bot lane turret down, blocks the feathers as well. Svenskeren is constantly hovering around the lane. They need this turret here. They need a win on this bot side to actually get sneaky ahead.
And it's down to 20%. This would be the first time I think Cloud9 would get first turret in this series. They've gotten very few turrets themselves throughout the 2.5 games so far, and it is very low. Still, it's C9 choking through a 1,300 gold deficit as we have Whippo on a very big lead here. He's got to level up. He's been bullying continually against Licorice, who's forced to ult, but he's still taking damage from the Chaos Storm. Finally getting away from that one, but this is still a huge advantage. Top lane has won every single game for Fnatic's new top laner.
Yeah, Whippo in his rookie year as well. Just dominating up here, playing so aggressively in these matchups. Now Caps is going to join him. He's already solo burned again the Echo ultimate, so Licorice doesn't have that.
Putting the shield up, gonna look for the stun against Caps. Nice little knock up there. It should still be him getting away from the knockback, but look at the damage output. It's forcing the flash out, so FLICKR really pushed away. He's gonna lose all of this farm.
So we get a trade right here. C9 got the bot lane turret. Fnatic will take the top lane. Like you guys mentioned, Whip on his rookie year. Because if you go back 12 months, no one knew about this player.
Yeah.
He was literally sitting in the TCL doing almost nothing. And then Fnatic out of nowhere signed this player as a substitution. He didn't play most of the spring split. It was all about Soaz, but he got in when Soaz injured his hand in playoffs. And he surprised everyone. Aggressive performance, able to play tanks and carries. Had a very famous interview right after the spring final where he said, I will be the best top laner. People called him out and said, oh, that's a little bit cocky right there. But he's actually shown now, during Worlds, that he is the best in Europe.
Meanwhile, it's a fight on a Broxah, stun and a knockup, and Zeyzal managed to snag another kill, but now it's bad for Sneaky. He flashed, but the Ignite is still too much, and Caps finds that kill in the 2-1-1, trades across the map, and now coming down, looking to fight up against Zeyzal and FNC, and the shield comes up, but when is the engage coming through? They found the first sweet spot, they're finding the re-engage now as Jensen rejoins the fight, but Sven's running out of health. He's sure to be knocked down. Caps is reviving. He's going to be fine here. Now look for Reckless. As he jumps in the air, brings back the feathers. Not a kill just yet, but Jensen's still getting low. He's trying to get away, finds the root, finds just barely the disengage. He'll stay alive, but it's Fnatic with so much more, summoning the Rift Herald as well.
Yeah, they had just taken Rift Herald, so even chasing off Jensen there, even though they don't get the kill, they can still take this mid turret, get the objective for themselves, and again, a big early game lead for themselves.
2-1 in turrets, and again, look at that gold. 1,600 puts Fnatic ahead. Another charge for Shelly as well. They have been the better team today. They've only dropped 2 games all of Worlds. Very few teams make the finals with that kind of record, but they're looking at it right here. Fnatic has been very good. They're going to grab this Mountain Drake without a problem as well. Push them farther and farther ahead. Edging ever closer to that 3-0 semifinals victory.
Let's see with the map right now. After bot lane turret drop a little bit earlier. Fnatic have moved to the top side instead, and Sneaky trying to do the exact same. He needs more turrets for his team. And that's where, sadly for him, he ends up face checking in.
Yeah, there's no getting out of that one.
Nope.
Ignite goes down, and that is the kill for Caps. As we know, it didn't end there. They try and chase C9, exiting the jungle, and they are able to get the engage when Caps lands the sweet spot on the long-range Q.
Just the ult in time by Caps obviously means it's just the 1-0. Good plays out of Reckless, kind of zones them back, and C9 just barely getting away, but now a re-engage. This battle is continuing. Caps without the ult, this time around certain to die, and it will go to FNC.
Another little fight. Broxah will end up jumping away.
Nice play there.
One thing that Cloud9 have said all tournament long, they are not afraid to fail. Even if they go for kills, go for ganks, and they do not work out, they will keep fighting. So they're staying true to that here, and they're still looking for the kills. That's what they have to do.
And it is C9 picking up a lot. Echo got a lot of alone time down in the bottom lane, shoving that wave in. Of course, the turret's already gone, but they're still picking up farm and getting their teammates a little bit closer.
Just constant invades right here. Caps simply not able to get away due to the CC coming in. Will eventually drop down, but it's been a crazy game where every time we are in a replay, we know the moment replay is over, another fight happens.
Play continues once again. A big knock from the front line. They can knock him down. An ult from Zeyzal. Ziggy trying to run away. He's ultiless for now.
Or the TP.
And he's going to be going for the re-engage as the teleports come through. FLICKR in, and they're going to find Hillsong. Cloud9 look for a second. The ult's on top, and they will get 2 kills. C9, for what feels like the first time all series, have a lead.
Yeah, exactly. They got the top lane turret before, then they moved action straight to the mid lane. It was Fnatic engaging onto C9's bottom lane, but they didn't actually get the kill, and double flank suddenly happens. One side is an Echo, the other side is a Lissandra. And C9, they pick up a bunch of kills. They've gotten 3 out of turrets. They have an Infernal Drake.
They've got a lot more confidence now as well, but Whippo still has the level lead. Still the farm lead as well. This Fnatic top laner has been instrumental in Fnatic's victory so far, and now we watch the Ace of Predator replay of that mid lane fight.
All right, this one starts out Reckless trying to pull back the feathers, and for this one, as Hillsong goes in, he does get the knockup, but Sneaky kites back on Lucian long enough for the teleport to come in for Cloud9. FLICKR, once he walks up, they're able to completely burst down Hillsong and get the 5-member convergence to get the extra kills.
Zeyzal played that fight perfectly. Blocks all the initial damage, then gets the knockup onto all the Fnatic members when Sneaky CC'd. After the knockup is gone, then Sneaky can actually dash away and avoid more damage. Kept him alive, and set up a beautiful flank from Cloud9 here. They still have TP in the bot lane. Whipple does not, so he has to move to mid here. Another fight, of course.
Glacial Tomb is up again as well, so C9 again want to walk forward.
They also have the teleport on Licorice still. He just walked to the last fight.
This is going to be the engage. Here comes Hillesong's going to find a single knock, and the kite's right back. Licorice is going to look for that TP eventually. He's coming in late, though. The re-engage towards Caps. He'll revive. Jensen forced to self-ult to stay alive as Whipple had come through. But now that jump forward, Licorice trying to find it. Feathers fly. He's going to look for that one, and not quite getting it picked up just yet. It's a disengage on both sides.
Nobody died right here. A lot of summoners once again on cooldown, so it's hard to go too aggressive knowing you don't have flash yourself.
Also knowing Baron now is on the table. We're just past the 20-minute mark now, so if they do snowball one of those big fights, you'll get a Baron and it will be a very big win. Also, we've got another Infernal Drake that will come up next, so we're gonna keep the action going in this semifinal.
Fits the theme of this game here. Aggression, both sides. Fnatic, we're trying, at least for a moment, to slow down the game after they had the big advantage. But C9 said, you know what, we don't care if we're behind. We'll just keep invading your jungle, keep fighting you everywhere. And they've actually been successful. Sneaky, while he's not picking up kills. He's picking up 3 assists, he's ahead in farm. He does have his Blade of Ruin King completed. No Black Cleaver just yet. Yeah. But once he gets it, the damage here in the mid game is pretty insane.
Yeah, right now, both bot laners just slightly waiting a little bit longer for that second item spike to come through. Right now, probably favors Sneaky. He has most of the attack damage he wants. And now a play goes to top side. Caps does not have the ulti, but he's not going to be knocked up either. C9 could not get their way in. Caps kiting away. Now Licorice gets the shield, but he's still forced to run. Whippo gonna flash in for a bit more. This time around, it's just going to be Licorice getting away, burning his flash to save his ultimate.
Yeah, traded summoner spells right there, traded ultimates as well, but in the end, Licorice left with very little HP, and Whippo wants to force him out.
Re-engage, the potential stun comes through, now the shield is on, and Whippo is without an escape route. But Licorice can't get quite the damage he needs as Whippo kites away, gets the shield as well, and back over the wall.
Feels so safe with the shield from his Q. A fairly low cooldown, just constantly looking for these trades, and now we get a move from C9. There's no turret behind Whippo.
Oh, they're almost behind him already. Whippo pretty quick.
This is a nice move by Sneaky. There's actually no way out now for Whippo, but can he outplay this fight in the 1v3? And what can his team do on the other side of the map? A big slow comes in as Licorice can feel comfortable, but the stun still buys a lot of time, and there's nowhere to go. He's going to try to give no assists over. He's certain to fall. When the team finally shows up, and they're going to make sure the Licorice does get the kill with assist credit going over to the support.
All right, Fnatic, nothing else they can do during that time as well. You can see on the mini-map here, just going for recalls across the board. Whippo very far pushed up, and Cloud9 pull the trap closed.
Licorice, though, low on resources. TP is available for the Victor to come down, but no one else is coming on this side of the map.
And with Infernal spawning in 5 seconds, C9 could just start it straight away. Whipple's there for 15. There's nothing Fnatic can really do without him. Unless they want to risk a 4 versus 5 because they know he can TP it after.
Maybe so. C9 missed a single ward sweeping around the Baron pit. There's that one that Fnatic sees. They know there's no crazy plays coming out here, but now this fight around the bottom river. Can they find a trap as Broxa is with the Tremor Sense?
And he's Victor. He's TPing in behind.
This could be the fight, and Licorice already so low. He seems to have overstayed his welcome. An easy shutdown, and now Fnatic, they can bring the trap closed in a 5v4. Here comes the engage. Caps right on front, looking to do what the Shy did just yesterday. A bit of damage now, and the re-engage coming across. A big stun in the front line. Here comes the rest of the squad, as Zazel's already gone. Svenskeren burning. He's going to drop as well. A double kill for Broxa. He's a Madsman into the back line. They've already found 3 kills. C9 push off Summoner's Rift.
And that fight is going to be Infernal and a possible Baron for Fnatic. Whippo gets revenge in the biggest way here, teleporting out on Victor, and they cut off Licorice.
All started here in the bottom lane when Licorice was caught by Caps. He was chased down, he eventually dies, and when the fight breaks open, it's just knock-up after knock-up from Fnatic. C9 had every opportunity to just take the Infernal Drake when it spawned, but they looked for more fights. They felt like that was the way to win the game, and it backfired.
And it's going to be Baron as a formality. 24 minutes in, make sure no one's there. Slain and picked up. Fnatic up 2,000 gold, ready for more.
Licorice trying to get the recall off. Cap stops him. As you know, he gets him extremely low with the Ignite on him as well. Knows that it's going to be a kill, and Whippo gets to come in and collect his revenge. Now, since you're talking about the fish show, C9 were looking for more kills. They're all on the enemy side, trapped in the middle. Caps goes in with the ultimate. Whippo gets the gravity pullback here, double stunning and allowing them to just decimate the C9 team fight.
Massive stuff here. Sneaky able to flash over the wall to get away, but the only living member of Cloud9 is not enough to stop that Baron or the Drake. And now C9 once again on the back foot here. The gold difference about 2,000. Let's see how much Fnatic can get with this Baron power play.
And every single time we get past 20 minutes, Fnatic, they show us better shot calling than on the side of C9. They find these openings here. C9 do not always punish whenever Fnatic makes a mistake. Let's see if we get another fight though. All 5 members from Fnatic are here. Same thing for C9. Caps is moving behind them on the flank.
Gonna find Zazel. Look at the damage output there. The shield comes up, Flash still going away. And this could be the re-engage that Whipple might want to find. A nice knockback comes in, but FNC still gonna be shattered as big knockup comes through, and Whipple's already found one. It's only been a single trade kill, 2-1 Fnatic. Looking at more. Whipple buys some time. Jensen waiting for his way into this fight. Can they kill Victor? That's gonna be a no. Sneaky is burning down. He's running away. And poor Licorice getting pushed back as well. Fnatic are completely smashing this fight.
It's not done yet either. Fnatic go back in. Caps uses the ultimate. Jensen actually gets out over the Raptor wall though, and they should be able to scatter.
They've scattered away. It's still the 2-for-1. Kobe, I knew it all along, but they're going for more. The base is about to be broken. That turret's gone already, and as the respawns come through, it will be a brief respite. Fnatic will not take the inhib. They will buy their new items. They will push again. They've got a minute and a half left for this Baron buff.
So much gold now for Fnatic. Get everything you want, look for another big team fight. Get the both flanked by Caps, of course, the early flash from Zazel, and now Whippo is effectively just standing in front of 4 players, setting up another great engage for the rest of the team. Hylissang finds the backline. This Rakan pick has been very, very good for Fnatic today.
Yeah, huge burst there from Fnatic. Then it looks like C9 try to go aggressive here. Whippo on the front line though as the victor, replenishing his shield, putting out the damage, and they're able to splinter the C9 resistance.
So many champions walked away with under 50 hit points. Both Broxa and Sneaky were inches away from losing their life. You had, of course, called that mid-fight as well as Jensen fought Caps. They both able to run away from this one, but we still have our close game. 4,000 gold, though. This lead has grown. The Baron power play knocked down several turrets in the mid lane, in addition to the team fight that they won already. Cloud9 hoping for something aggressive and something in the fog of war.
The Fnatic Death Brush against Fnatic.
Cloud9 still fighting here with all their heart, going the way that they have gone this entire tournament. Still looking for those plays, looking for the kills. What a run for them it has been. Looks like Fnatic, though, gonna put a pretty big damper on that run.
I'm waiting for the last big team fight.
Yeah.
If you are C9, you're obviously down in gold. It is looking very, very rough. You got 3 items on your Lucian. You have 2 items right now completed for Jensen in the mid lane. If they find a great engage where they can get on to someone like Whippo or Reckless, they have enough CC and damage to kill them. The problem is there's so much return fire coming in from Fnatic.
Well, Cloud9 hoping this game goes the way of their season. From 10th place to World Semifinals, from a 4,000 gold deficit to a comeback and a reverse sweep in the semis of Worlds itself. Fnatic, though, a lot of dominance this year, back-to-back EU titles and bringing glory back to the continent as well. G2 did great to reach did very well to reach semifinals. Fnatic, though, look to reach the finals themselves and avenge G2 with a date against Invictus Gaming. If they can close one out, they are the advantage team. They are moments away, you feel like a single team fight away from clinching it as a 3-0.
The last time a European first seed reached the semifinal at Worlds, it was Fnatic themselves in 2015. The Huni Reignover lineup that so many fans remember. They rebuilt over a couple of years, and now we're here looking at Fnatic making the final for the first time since 2011 when they won the original World Championship.
Hylissang's gonna kite away, and he's gonna find another teammate there to jump back to. He's gonna stay alive, no stuns to be had. Nice plays there. And now here comes the re-engage. A nice knockback there. It's pretty good plays out of Whippo, forcing the rest of the scene away. Here is the fight. Here's Caps in the front line, and the health bar is already shattered. Cloud9 scattered to the winds, trying to get in the back line. But look at that one, as Jensen just barely buys a second. But it's already 3 kills. It's gonna be the 4th as well. He's trying to buy the time he can, but there's no way out. It's an ace for only 2 trade kills. There is no stopping Fnatic.
They win another fight right now, 3 members alive, and they're looking straight for the Nexus, straight to the final.
And not a single champion can stop them. Fnatic with a 3-0 run in the semis. The first ever world champion hopes to be the latest. North America will not stand in their way. Korea has not stood in their way, and they will apparently have to wait for a bit longer to see if Invictus will as well.
Death timers stand in their way.
Infernal Drakes will not stand in their way as they head down to take that objective. Here's a look at the replay, though. Cloud9, as we said, they've been fighting this whole tournament. They're looking for more of those fights. They're trying to engage on Fnatic in their own jungle. Whippo does flash out of that big stun, but Caps finds the flank on the 4 members. And it is those 2 guys that have really controlled the area that these team fights have taken place in. The Victor AoE comes through with the Aatrox AoE. They take out so much of the heart of the C9 fight that even though Jensen did find his way into the backline versus Reckless, it didn't matter.
Reckless' job in that fight was just to try and stay alive against Echo and Lissandra.
A lot of damage.
It's actually insane. Bot lane?
Well, Licorice is on the run. He's trying to get away from Caps. Look how fast he is, though. It's a nightmare coming forward, and the ult's going to land for Broxa as well. They've got the chase. They've got yet another kill. Fnatic, again, 5v4 on the map.
And Fnatic are looking so scary here. On the well, never mind. They might run into this so-called Fnatic rush that you deemed it with the control award waiting here.
The game interrupts all of us. It's an aggressive one, and one that might send C9 packing here. Fnatic have the space, though, to keep working with it.
There is a reason for that movement, and it is Baron spawning. It is now back on the map, 31 minutes into the game. Fnatic heading back out to the area, and C9 looking to hold it.
15 seconds on Licorice respawn, another 4 to channel teleport. Keep in mind, Fnatic can also just push in mid, and they can knock to the Nexus that way. C9 put over a barrel here. What can they find to get back into this one? Backs against the wall. Baron being attacked already. 6,000 gold lead.
No flash on Victor. Surely he can be the only target. They're going for him.
Going for the big play. The jungler Cloud9 getting worn down. Bursted out. He's gone already, and Baron's at 2K. Whippo will finally fall, but there's no smite to contest, and Baron is picked up. Cloud9 get a couple of kills, but it's still better on Fnatic's side. The chase in. They found Caps. He does not have flash. He does not have the ultimate. Jumps over the wall as Licorice. Almost the damage. One more auto would knock down the mid lane, and Licorice is still trying. Can he get over? They're now going to go for Reckless, but the feather's flying. He gets away. The Blade Caller finds more of the team, and Sneaky goes down. Broxa in the back line, killing just everybody. A double for the Rek'Sai, and now it's C9 forced to run, but they do not have a way out because Rek'Sai is on the hunt. Licorice finds a single, but he's knocked into the air. The ult's gonna come across, but they're still trying to fight him. He's stuck between a Rek'Sai and a Xayah, and the flash forward is the ace, and Fnatic once again control it all.
Svenskeren is respawning right now to try and kill the minions at the Nexus turrets. Fnatic only 2 players alive right now. We might get another big one before the game is fully over.
It's an 8,000 gold lead for Fnatic right now. There have been 34 kills in this game, and it's only been 32.5 minutes, still ahead of schedule.
It's at least an entertaining one, Kobe, even if it's bittersweet for Cloud9. Farther and farther behind Fnatic, almost assuredly going to be the 3-0 sweep in this one as they knock down more of the structures. They can recall one more time without problems and collect their profits, buy more items, and deal that death blow to North America's last hope.
Oh yes, they're setting up for the last final one. On the side of Fnatic, 4 items right now on Reckless. Caps on the Aatrox. Great early start to the game and been insane in every single team fight so far. We've seen the damage he can deal, same thing for Whippo and the Victor. So all the damage deals already. Side of Fnatic, I feel like everyone has been looking at these fights and saying, yeah, Fnatic are gonna win every single one. But it's always been fights that's been very long, very drawn out, and someone on C9 gets to respawn and defend, giving them one last chance. I'm gonna make that call now. One last chance to defend the Nexus.
All right, let's see what that fight is.
One last chance for North America's one last hope as Fnatic come marching in. They're pushing all side waves up. They have super minions coming down the mid lane. Super Aatrox going up the top lane, and everybody else trying to push through bottom.
Watch the Echo. Watch the Aatrox. Where are Caps and where are Licorice? Is there ever going to be a 5v4 that a team can advantage? Right now, it's Licorice just maybe to lead it at the start as Caps dives him under the turret, forcing him away. Look at the damage output. At least Caps will lose the ultimate, but is there a re-engage for Cloud9? Keep in mind, bots already being attacked. That inhibitor certain to fall. Jensen will get the GA, but there's the attack onto the Nexus turrets, forcing back Sneaky. He's got to be forced back to heal, and a knockup comes through for Broxa as it's 5v3 on the map. Another inhibitor likely to fall as Fnatic just keep waiting for the waves to push down the Nexus. 5v3, and the last hope for the West will be Fnatic, the kings of the West, the kings of Europe. It's going to be Fnatic looking to knock it down in the 5v3 to get those last few kills. A desperate engage and a shutdown on the Caps. A few more seconds fought, but look at the blade color. It's everyone dead. Fnatic are the kings of the West, and they will represent in the World Final. As Fnatic shake hands with the latest opponent to fall under their heel, they will have a familiar one from back in Group D, a team that they had defeated 2-1 in the group stage, a team they know they can be better than, Invictus Gaming, the last hope of the LPL, will battle against Fnatic, the first world champions, hoping to be the latest, the last hope of Europe, the last hope of the West.
And both of those two teams heading to finals with 3-0 victories in semis.
And you can see them right now. One of these teams will hoist the Summoners Cup in the World Finals in just simply a week. Invictus Gaming, the LPL runner-up, and Fnatic, the EU LCS champions, in 6 days in Incheon. A best of 5 to determine the best team in the world.
This final will be insane. The games they played in groups were fantastic against each other. Fnatic coming out 2-1 after the tiebreaker.
Staging for the photo ops. And I've got to say, really amazing performances out of the Fnatic players here. Caps was the better mid laner all day. Bwipo the better top laner all day. Matching up against the Shy and Rookie, potentially the best top laner and mid laner in the world. The Fnatic can certainly challenge that notion here. It's going to be some exciting matchups across this one. Rookie, well, he's won an LCK title, looking for a world championship now for himself.
The entire year for all of these players leading up to this moment.
Well, for more on this 3-0 sweep from Fnatic and a look ahead to the World Finals, let's send it over to the World's Cooldown.
Thank you very much, Freak, and welcome to World's Cooldown. All of the players, both on Fnatic and Invictus Gaming, they're taking a much-deserved opportunity to huddle around the trophy they'll be fighting for in just a week's time, but also take some photos, kind of bask in the glory of the moment. We followed quarterfinals, where we saw both tournament favorites get knocked out in 5-game series, where heads immediately turned to both IG and Fnatic. These two teams saying, all right, well, if the tournament favorites are out, those are the two we're looking at as perhaps the ones to make a run. IG gets the 3-0 yesterday. Fnatic, not to be outdone, mounts a similarly dominant 3-0 against Cloud9 here tonight.
Made a huge statement, I feel like, with the way they were able to play the draft phase as well as execute within the game as a team. All the solo lane bans they absorbed, the fact that they were able to win any Victor matchup top lane, they really did show a lot of the same strengths that IG showed as far as draft flexibility and solo lane strength, which makes me super excited for what is now a group stage rematch in the finals.
Yeah, it's like the versatility, the early game, the late game. It felt like Invictus Gaming threw down the gauntlet. They have the Jace pick that comes out now. Fnatic, they grabbed their own Jace pick, and now suddenly it's not just a trump card for IG.
Right.
And you have both late game victories, early game victories, all of the flex picks. Like the evolution that both of these teams have made over their crash course for history is just the cherry on top.
It's a world first to have two teams from the same group meet in the finals of the entire tournament. And then to your point, Frost, I'm extraordinarily excited to watch the solo lanes go up against each other when it comes to IG and Fnatic because of the way that the Fnatic mid laner played today in Caps, right? We had some questions around a shaky performance for him, you know, within the early stages of the tournament, even calling out Perks as perhaps the better performing EU mid laner up until these semifinals. And Caps really finally showed us why he is deserving of a spot on that top 20 and all of the pre-tournament hype.
And I think there's kind of two factors here. The first time that Caps and Rookie faced, Rookie did get the red side counter pick a lot of the time. Caps had to go in blind, and so of course he's naturally going to be at a disadvantage. And then the other side of that is blue side almost seems so much stronger as people are identifying, okay, there are just over-tuned champions right now. It's about how many you can stack on your team, how confident you are to blind pick them. And so things like the Aatrox, like the LeBlanc, like the Victor are suddenly really changing the dynamics. And it feels like Caps is finally ready to say, okay, you are no longer just going to grab the safe counter pick, which is what Jensen did in this last game. He's like, I need Lissandra because that way I'll be safe. You can't do that. You can't play safe. You must be confident. I don't think we're going to see like another swing grab from Caps when he sees Rookie. It should be assassin versus assassin. Who's going to have more confidence on the day?
Yeah, and I think both these teams have learned a lot since the last time they played each other, and they kind of showed what they learned in these two semifinal stomps.
Without doubt.
I mean, the last time I can remember double 3-0 in semifinals was 2015. This is much different in the fact that it's the LPL team and the EULCS team doing the stomping.
Right.
So a much different world we live in, but a very fast semifinal.
Yeah, taking a look at the comparison between the two teams that will meet in the finals here. I mean, just impressive stats really across the board.
Yeah, look at that gold at 20. There's definitely, as you can see, better Drake control from Invictus Gaming. Cloud9 was prioritizing those Drakes early on in these games. Often, I almost feel like in a bit of a sense of desperation as Fnatic was winning the side lanes and getting a lot of turret pressure. So in that way, you could say that's like, Fnatic didn't completely dominate, but they really did.
Yeah. A small preview of the finals matchup, but let's kind of re-hit this third game and just put a capper on this series real fast. You already mentioned it. 3 Lissandra games in a row for Jensen. I'll be the first to say I'm disappointed just that we didn't see a different look. Not that Lissandra isn't a good pick and isn't a viable champion, but I wanted to see something different in your potential last game of the tournament.
And again, you can completely understand the mentality. There's so many flex picks going on right now. She can control, I think was the word that Papa Smithy used on the desk. I 100% agree with it. She can control a lot of these really big snowballing lanes. Jensen was trying to do his duty just to lock down Caps, keep him there. But ultimately, you know, I don't think you're the only one who feels bad. I think that if you're a player, you probably feel bad being like, you know, I didn't get to play the LeBlanc. I didn't get to try to do the carry performance. I was just on utility duty. And that's not to say that, you know, flame Jensen or anything like that. That could have just been a Cloud9 decision of, okay, this is your responsibility for this matchup. And unfortunately, they were just outclassed pretty much every single spot on the map.
Yeah, if I had to speculate, they'd want the Lissandra so they can dictate the engage because they got here by being proactive and dictating engage, and Nocturne was taken away from them, so they would need the Lissandra. And there were opportunities, I feel like, for Cloud9 to capitalize, but in any way that Fnatic could beat Cloud9, I feel like they kind of did beat Cloud9. In game 1, you saw them with the mid lane kills and the solo kills from Caps, and then you saw Bwipo getting 1v1s top lane, and even in game 3, you saw a 2v2 solo kill. Like, every single member of Fnatic had that outplay moment on their counterpart on C9.
Almost every skirmish in this entire series went Fnatic's way, right? They either responded just that millisecond faster, they brought one more person to the fight, they just mechanically performed better in the fight. Any of those factors could have been the lever to pull, but it was always pulled in favor of Fnatic.
The thing that really just disappointed me about Cloud9 was their draft. Jet, you called it on the desk, you know, pointing out that Akali, Aatrox, and then LeBlanc were the bans from either red side or blue side, which is so surprising to me given the depth of champion pools that we saw from Cloud9 throughout this tournament. The fact that you
no Singe, no Hecarim. Like, where are all these pocket picks?
Yeah, exactly. Where is the bait? It was like we got the triple flex of the Victor, and that was cool, but we expected so much more from them in just the draft phase to set them up before, you know, they had an opportunity to lose on a macro sets, to lose on a micro set.
But I think that's also where we have to extend an incredible amount of credit to Fnatic, because if we talk about C9 being one of the most difficult teams to draft against, just by virtue of having those pocket picks always at their disposal, it means that Fnatic had to be ultra confident in whatever they were bringing to the table in the face of Victor flex to the bot lane. Who's going to necessarily predict that?
Yeah, and also, like, Caps pulled out a Zir this tournament. That's just so counter to where it feels like the meta has
Average
been going.
game time, 27 minutes. What's the perfect champion for that? Azir.
I'll take the 28-minute quadra kill Azir, actually.
Right, why not?
And to be fair, it was just a great read of knowing that Lissandra was going to be such a pivotal pick. We've seen Azir go into the Lissandra, and it's just a really hard matchup to play. So again, no flame to Jensen. Like, that's really tough. I would call it a soft counter or a soft answer. He's able to match the push. He can't roam as well, but it's hard just to leave that lane as Lissandra. And then if you don't get to start those team fights in the side lanes, suddenly you lose so much priority in that pick.
Time to hear from some of the winners. For more on Fnatic's impressive victory, let's turn it over to Shox and the Fnatic mid laner.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Caps, who absolutely carried today. I'm just going to put it that way. What is going through your head right now? The fact that you have made it to the World Championship final.
So I feel kind of weird because in a way, I should be really hyped that it's the first final in so long since season 1. But I don't really feel that hyped because there's still one more match to go, and if we lose now, it's probably the worst feeling we could even have. So I'm just trying to stay a bit relaxed, gonna play some more games, prepare for next week, and then win that, and then I can get hyped.
Yeah, okay. Well, I understand that. You don't want to get too overhyped. Can I ask you about how you think you did performance-wise in the match? I know you guys weren't very happy with how you played in your quarterfinal. What was it like today?
So I think we improved a lot since the quarterfinals. Our early game was a lot better today than last time, but we still had some problems. I feel like C9 were really good at, I mean, obviously I don't want to go into specifics, but C9 were really good at punishing something that other teams don't punish. So usually we will get away with stuff that we didn't get away with against C9, and therefore I think the early game should probably, the early parts of the early game will be harder against IG because they have maybe stronger individual players, but there's a lot of parts that C9 did really well at playing together that IG don't. So I'm excited for next week.
Seems like you're pretty positive about the matchup. And tell me about that rematch versus Rookie. He said he wanted to face you again. How do you feel about it?
So I think Rookie is probably, at least in my opinion, he's probably the best performing player at the tournament right now. But unfortunately for him, that's still next week. And I think after the best of 5 next week, he probably won't even be top 20. So.
There we go. I do want to invite a special guest on, sir. Caps' dad, welcome. There we go.
Wow.
So your son is having a bit of trouble realizing that he wants to stay calm. What can you say about the fact that he's made it to the final?
So wow, it's EU made to the finals, and this first time ever.
Yeah.
I don't have all the histories, but I know that this is amazing.
Yeah.
And he played actually so damn well, so I could kick the ball. So yeah, you're so good.
So what's your prediction for the final?
I'm so nervous, especially the 5 days that have to go now. I don't know where to go. I have to climb mountains or something like that. Yeah. And then hopefully I will have to see something like the previous games, some hard things, and then in the top of the edge there will be a little ration and a present. But we don't know. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Gotta stay calm. So finally, Caps, it's lovely that your father is here and your whole family following you. Can you just tell us a couple of words about the whole experience, your family being here, them supporting you for a couple of years now as a pro player and having achieved so much?
So it's really nice being at Worlds. You get to experience a lot of different teams, and especially this Worlds where everyone is beating everyone. It's a really crazy feeling, and to have no Koreans in the final is really crazy in itself, and we're gonna take it.
Fantastic. There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us as well. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Shox. Proud father, rightfully so, as again, Caps in particular stepped up in this series to make it a swift 3-0. I love the way he's talking about that matchup against Rookie, giving him the respect as the best performing player in the tournament, but saying we've still got 1 week left to go to change that whole narrative.
It's the confidence, and Cap sounds really confident, and that's what you want. This meta is all about the micro outplays. It's about playing on that moment, playing in that spotlight, and it sounds like Caps has the confidence to do it.
Yeah, and looking at their run, first place in the group stage, 6-1, 3-1 quarters, 3-0 semis. They're 12-2 at the World Championship.
It's an impressive record.
They have been dominant when you look back at it.
Without a doubt. Fnatic smashed their way to the finals, and a couple of players showed the additional flair necessary to earn themselves MasterCard Players of the Game. For the 3-game series, it was Caps twice, and then Bwipo picking it up for that 3rd game.
Solo lanes. You saw all the bans towards it. It didn't even help at all, it felt like, with the way Caps and Whippo were playing in those solo lanes. Got to shout out Broxa as well, because he had total control of the jungle, and any solo laner will tell you how much jungle pressure and jungle difference matters. So Broxa, the honorable mention, even though he didn't get a nod for an individual game.
And I will say this, over the course of those games, when we were discussing, who's going to be player of the game, it's always just like, this feels like a Fnatic win. Like, everyone is doing their part. And then it was at kind of like the very end that like Caps would pop off and get like a quadra. Like, give it to Caps, give it to Caps. But Fnatic right now, just across the board, I know special shout out to Broxa, but also Reckless and Hilly have just been so consistent.
Super solid.
Solo lanes in both series got him for all 3 games, the POGs. And so again, just really furthering the idea that the finals matchup could hinge on the performance of just a few individuals. Well, when you're looking for a spot at the World Final, pros might aim to hard carry or to out-macro their opponent. Then there are the players who spend everything just to defend a turret to say, I'm helping, presented by State Farm. In his series today versus Cloud9, Fnatic's Hylissang stalls out mid perfectly to guarantee Fnatic first turret.
Look how low this wave, but this could die this very wave right here unless C9 rush it down faster. They are staying, but Brox has cleared the wave away, and hard CC for Hylissang. He might lose his life, but he saves the turret. It gives first turret gold to Reckless.
And I think the hero moment is that Hilly was still supporting his ADC across
from the mid
map.
lane. Yeah, that's 600 gold going directly into Reckless' pocket there early in the game. And so as a Sivir who's trying to scale to late, that feels good.
Yeah, it helps so much. And Reckless didn't get any accolades this game, other than the fact that he's in the final, right? Even going back to the EDG series, he just doesn't die in the first 15 minutes of the game, but he's not falling behind in CS and he's not losing his turret. When you're playing a solo lane focused game, that's exactly what you need in the bottom lane.
Yeah, knows his role on the team in this tournament and this meta. With today's victory, though, we've locked in our teams competing for the Summoners Cup. Fnatic complimented Invictus Gaming's 3-0 with one of their own, as both teams try to maintain momentum as they clash in Incheon.
Oh my goodness. Shout out to Group D. G-Rex and 100 Thieves, I'm sorry. You're in the group with Titans, Fnatic and Invictus Gaming.
Exactly, it wasn't G-Rex and 100 Thieves. They were actually just in the group with the 2 world finalists.
They would have had a shot, man, anywhere else.
Any other group.
But let's talk about these 2 teams because, interestingly enough, there is history here.
Oh my God, yeah.
Between both these teams, the regions, everything. Fnatic, obviously, the winners of Season 1, and now they get another shot at the finals.
Yeah, this feels so much like a throwback to earlier days of League of Legends. And I'm someone who's been casting since 2012, and I actually remember Reckless's first tournament. It was IPL 5 because he wasn't able to play on Fnatic. He was too young, but IPL 5 he was allowed to play in.
Right.
And that was a tournament that had the defended world champions, TPA, had a Korea team, Azubu Blaze, and Reckless and Fnatic, with Reckless and Soaz, actually made it all the way to the finals, only to be beaten by the Chinese team, Team WE. And then after that, Korea won forever. But that is kind of on the back burner this year. So to have these 2 teams emerge, IG always kind of been there in the LPL, never quite at the top, and both these teams now having that opportunity this late into League of Legends life, like this mature sport where I really feel like it was totally new back then, is such an accomplishment for both of these teams, and I can't wait to see who wins.
So a rematch for the regions when it comes to a finals in that sense, but also a rematch for these teams in particular, just as we mentioned, both coming from Group D. Fnatic was the 1 seed coming out of that group, and so you would expect at least some amount of confidence knowing that they bested IG when it came to the group stage.
But it was just such a different animal back then. I don't want to take anything away from Fnatic. Maybe this is the IG bias lens coming through, but ultimately we were playing things like Sion and Kai'Sa. It was a very different look from IG. The meta has progressed, the tournament has progressed, and now it feels like both of these teams have assembled the versatility, the micro, the macro, and we're going to see them in their best form really clash for what was previously a best of 3 that was basically just a highlights montage. You just take any of the clips of those crazy plays from both sides.
Right, these teams played before the LeBlanc went 8-0 in knockout stage, before the Scions disappeared from the top lane, and before the Victors started showing up in every lane on the map. And so, again, while they have played and there is some history that we can point to even from this tournament, I don't expect this next best of 5 to play out anything like it.
Yeah, and I have no sources on this, but I am pretty sure they were scrimming each other this week. Like the first pick LeBlanc priority for both teams, the early Jace priority as a pick against Aatrox. I feel like they kind of knew in their heads, they're like, okay, IG is the best team, we're the best team, let's scrim to make sure we get there, and then in the next week, then we'll try and prepare against them. And I completely agree with Frost Curran. It's a whole new animal.
Right, so then do your best for me in imagining a week from now how IG and Fnatic match up against each other. Because as you mentioned today, it felt like Fnatic just kind of across the board outclassed C9. But the same thing can be said about IG against G2, and so where do you expect IG to over-index as compared to Fnatic, and for Fnatic to do the same?
I'll give you kind of the two strengths of both squads. Fnatic are the better team fighters than Invictus Gaming. IG have never been good team fighters. They've always been good skirmishers. They are getting better at it, but comparatively to a lot of the team fighting that we see in the LPL, RNG always had them there, which is why RNG always had IG's number. They were always able to beat them because they'd stall it out late game and then they'd just out-team fight them. But I do believe that Invictus Gaming solo laners in the Shy and Rookie are better than Bwipo and Caps. I think it will be very matchup dependent, so Fnatic can gain ground there. But we saw Rookie, he just perfect CS. He knows exactly when to roam. He knows how to kill. He's the best performing member of the tournament. And maybe Caps and Bwipo can shut me up here. But ultimately, early game, I have to give it to IG and the stronger solo laners. But late game, I think if Fnatic could actually have a win condition there that stall it out, have Reckless on Sivir, and just say, we'll see you in the 5v5. We know this has been your Achilles heel all year long.
I think Fnatic has an edge in team play and communication.
Yep.
But if IG is to win the series, it's because the Shy and Rookie are amazing.
It's just too good.
Right? And that's going to be what I'm specifically watching in that series.
Well, to get another pro's insight on Fnatic's climb, Shox is standing by with Fnatic's top laner.
Thank you very much, guys. We both can't contain our joy and our laughter. How do you feel about this, Mr. Bwipo? Your first year as a professional player, by the way.
I mean, I was in LCL, right? So, yeah. I mean, first year on the big stage, I guess. Now that I think about it, I actually realized that we were just kind of better across the board. Kind of what was expected. But still, you don't tell yourself that before you play. Yeah, it went a lot easier than expected. We thought they had more prepared. We were better prepared. I feel like their counter pick into Victor was very poor. He wasn't very good at playing it either. So, I mean, to me, the reason I'm kind of disappointed because there was a lot of hype around, oh, we're both rookies and we're both good, and then he kind of picks a really shitty matchup where I can just smash him. So, I did.
Oh. Is this one of those that you're going to regret later, or?
No, I mean, like, this time around, I'm not going to say I'm going to smash the next guy.
Yeah,
it's just more like, that's kind of what happened, no?
Yeah.
I think I just literally said what happened. Okay. He picked a shitty champion into a good champion, and I won.
So, let's then talk about the Shy, because I interviewed him yesterday. Of course, you played versus him already, and he said, well, yes, there's nobody who can beat me. How are you looking forward to that rematch in general?
I mean, I'm looking forward to it a lot. I think that, you know, like yesterday they banned Victor every game, and I think I got to show why people ban Victor every game. So I don't expect I'll get to cheat the lane matchup with the champion. I think Jace is a champion we both are playing, so, you know, I didn't look quite as dominant as he did. I should have, you know, I was holding back. But like holding back in the sense of like a lot of high plays in mind, but I'm like, all right, let's just slow down, play the game, like, you know, just win. Nerves, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, kind of surreal. Yeah. I think we beat IG before. I think we can do it again. So like, just the thought of you're going into World Finals with the idea that it's winnable, right? And you have to imagine that. Is that really, you know, is that really a thing right now? Like, it's 2018.
It's surreal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's surreal.
Like, every single World Finals where it was an Asian team against a Western team, which is none. I mean, just think about it. Most of the time, it was like a Korean team, and everyone's like, you know, they can't lose. But now it's actually, it's a match. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some League of Legends to be played, and I'm going to love it. So I look forward to playing against the Shy. He said nobody can beat him, so, you know, maybe I can shut him up. Yeah. Maybe I don't, you know, maybe I get shit on, you know.
You even have me for a loss of words with how much and how fast you're talking, but you're very excited.
I mean, I'm excited, but it's also in the sense that, I don't know, it's hard to put in the words, because I feel like everybody worked really hard for this, and I said in an interview earlier, is like, at the end of the day, like Reckless, Soaz, especially, even Hilly, have worked for years for this, and then, you know, it's here now. Yeah. This is their opportunity, my opportunity. And I hope I can just keep up the performance to get him there, right? Because I feel like today I had a pretty good game.
Okay. One shot, one opportunity. Finally, just for the fans out there, they love your face cams. Do you want to do just like 1 or 2 Vipo emotes? I'll do it with you. Which one do you want to do?
I don't know which ones there are.
That one. Yeah, I've heard. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Vipo. Congratulations. Very fun interview. He's excited, guys. Why wouldn't you be? Going to the finals. Back over to you guys.
I'd be worried if he wasn't happy about going to the finals in his rookie year here. I mean, that is what's so spectacular about this player to me is, yes, he played in the spring finals, but coming into MSI, if you weren't from the European region, you didn't know Bwipo's name. And here he's picking up a MasterCard player of the game in the semifinals to help push his team to a finals bout.
And you know, there was a lot of conversation about where EU analysts were leaning that Soaz is the better top laner to put in, that Soaz was the one that we expected to show up when it came crunch time. But I feel like the meta has really shifted, that Bwipo has like the pocket picks, he's got the Victor, he was more of kind of like the mage player, and we'll see if maybe like push comes to shove that Soaz retakes the stage with kind of that veteranship, because he looked good on those Sion games, but as Sion has disappeared, it feels like Bwipo is now, you know, standing up in that spotlight, and it's not just like Caps anymore. It's now this secondary, very young star.
Yeah, I feel it's funny that there's the parallel between IG and Fnatic with the super experienced top laner and then the younger guy who seems to be more prone to carry champions. Like, Duke is a former world champion and actually played a lot of summer split games with IG, much like Soaz did, but the way the tournament has shifted has put Bwipo and the Shy in the spotlight.
And what I really loved is Bwipo's comment about how, you know, it's been a long time coming, that you have guys like Reckless that they've worked their entire careers for this moment. When you look across at Invictus Gaming, yeah, there's that experience in terms of Rookie and Duke, and, you know, for Rookie to lift a championship in Korea would mean that it was worth it. You know, choosing the LPL, my career was worth it here. But then you look at Jackie Love, at Baolan, at the Shy, at Ning. These guys have never competed outside of China. This is also basically their rookie years. They've only been around for about 3 splits total. So in terms of like the experience disparity, Fnatic have so much experience behind them.
Yeah, you contrast that to just previous World Finals when you've got, you know, defending champions, guys who've been in the leagues for, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, all taking up the stage. This is going to be a relatively inexperienced World Final. And again, just how the adrenaline that you could see there pumping through Bwipo's veins, that turns into anxiety and nerves and pressure, right? How are they going to deal with all of that on the biggest stage they've ever played in their entire lives?
And so often we don't get to really talk about, like, we'll mention the mental game, but you never really see it in League of Legends, because it's not like, you know, the players, they're so small on the bottom of your screen, and sometimes you'll see that, you know, the famous Bwipo reactionary pose or something like that. But for Rookie to not buy items in a best of 5 in Game 5, for Jackie Love to be flashing forward and be kind of like gobbled up and eaten, like you can see, for once it feels like in this tournament especially, that pressure start to crack players. And now on the World's Finals, with so much inexperience, you can define your legacy day one in that final.
Yeah, it's going to be so amazing. Like, there's a transition from playing at Worlds to playing at World Final as well, just because the ceremony beforehand, seeing whatever it is that is planned and seeing that many people there to watch, like, it's a whole nother animal. And especially with these guys that haven't been there before, like, you could say Saul has been a world championship because he played in season 1. Yeah, that's not a 50,000 seat stadium, right? So I once again,
whole nother animal.
Can we do it tomorrow? Can we just move up the schedule?
Let's go. Let's go. Move it up.
We can do it now.
Rolling. Throughout the weekend, you cheered on your favorite teams and called out the plays that made you proud. So we pulled a couple worthy of being called an Acer Predator big play. First up, Fuzzy Butterbean. Fantastic name. Tried to give C9 a heads up. Warning, caps lock is on.
Do you go one shot? I think win.
I got one shot. I'm dead as well. I'm going on the Sandra. I got shot. Win. He killed everyone. Holy shit, Caps. Is that a penta?
Oh my god.
Oh my Cap!
I think what's so impressive there is that we were like, oh, who do you give it to? You can give it to Broxy, you can give it to Bwipo, you can give it to Caps, and then we saw that play like, Caps.
I like how the team's just like, oh, he killed everyone. Let's go. Like, that's just the reaction.
Well, because he does. He comes out of nowhere. That fight looked like it was going C9's way until the 3-man wall comes out, and he just kind of 1v4s. Next up, the lonely dog guy. Not lonely if you got a dog, my friend. Wrote a poem about the IG top laner. My Aatrox is sick. My Jace makes them die. You guessed it right. It's IG's the Shy.
Wonder trying to make something happen, but G2 looks like they just want to disengage this one now. They already got the pick onto the enemy jungler. Oh! So many people! That's the Aatrox damage, and the Shy makes it happen.
哇！好，可以，你们可以，走走走走走走，砍掉一墙，砍掉一，可以，他怎么这么猛？砍掉一墙，砍掉一，别，走吧，走吧，走吧，可以吗？不要，我没有眼，我没有蓝，他没大。
Yeah, and there was a like an LPL mic check of that moment, and my memory of the rough translation of it was basically Baolan saying back, Ning saying back, they can get Baron if we die, and then like a second later, a wow and kill them because they saw Shy get a triple Q2 and a quadra Q3 and realized that they could win the fight.
Yeah, he's just silently ignoring his team. And he's like, no. I know where this is going, and it's not even worth my time to tell you. It's fantastic. Well, as the remaining two teams make their way to the finals, we want you to send your favorite moments of Worlds to @LOL Esports with the hashtag Worlds2018 so we can chart through all the crazy moments of the tournament, and there were quite a few. We return next week on November 3rd in Incheon with EU's Fnatic versus the LPL's Invictus Gaming. The broadcast starts with Worlds Countdown an hour before opening ceremony at 11:30 Pacific or 7:30 a.m. Central European Time. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. So now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in Incheon for the World Championship Finals.
Cloud9 for the last spot in the finals, the biggest NA versus EU match probably of all time.
The results of today's best of 5 could cause a whole continent to cheer or cry out in despair.
Here we go. Flashing, going for the chain as well. Just gonna flash, but still get rooted. Q's gonna land, and first blood. A couple more autos come through, but watch out. The turret is attacking, and Sven Scarron kills himself in the top lane, and Fnatic is not done. Jumping forward is Caps. He's got the chain as well. What a play!
Nice, guys. That's good shot.
Fnatic handily took game 1. Will it be the comeback that North American fans and C9 themselves are hoping for in this one? Here's going to find that stun. The engage, look at the burst damage.
Hitting. One hit, flash.
I can't chase.
I get him, maybe. He's dead. Can we go there? Can we finish? Yeah. Nice one. Flashed in, he flashed. Let's fucking go, guys. Nice.
Here comes the backline access, looking for some flash away. It's 2 for 1, 3 for 1. Kills coming across.
Win. He killed everyone. Holy shit, Cap. Is that a penta? Oh my god. Oh my Cap!
Quadra kill for Caps. This will be 2-0, and Fnatic are a single game away from the World Finals.
Show IG that you're ready to play a finals.
Sneaky threw it up into a knock-up, and he just walks into him. He's gonna die to the Ignite. There's no way out. First blood comes through the Hillsong.
I've got that. Onto this guy. Nice. Let's push out all waves and catch. Double stun. We're getting both. Front. Zinzandra waiting. I'm fighting Lucian. I beat Lucian. He flashed out. Nice. Yeah, Drake first.
Here's Caps the front line, and the health bar is already shattered. Cloud9 scattered to the winds, trying to get him the back line. But look at that one, as Jensen just barely buys a second. But it's already 3 kills. It's going to be the 4th as well. He's trying to buy the time he can, but there's no way out. Fnatic are the kings of the West, and they will represent in the World Final.